In Texas, real men ride horses and wrestle steer. In NASCAR, steering steel horses is just another day at the office. One of the biggest paychecks of the year will be cashed tonight. We are back in the saddle again just outside of Dallas, and it is time to cowboy up. Big purse, big track, big state. Weather messed with the schedule yesterday, but tonight the skies are clear. Welcome to NASCAR's version of Friday Night Lights. Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Voda, and this is the setup. The last time the Truck Series was here, a shot was delivered that completely changed the title fight and left a NASCAR superstar on the sidelines. Now, our owner's points set the qualifying was canceled, so owner points set the front row, meaning we have Justin Lofton and Timothy Peters making up that front row. Their trucks right behind me. So what can we expect tonight? Well, there will be no Triple Crown, but there could be a third winner at Red Horse Racing. The head trainer takes us inside his paddock and lets us in on his secrets. Plus, one of our drivers is racing for more than a trophy tonight. We sit down with the Paluto family and share some news they recently received about their son Oliver. It is a touching story you will not want to miss. Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler will be covering all of the action in the pits tonight. And Ray, let's start with you. What have you got your eye on?
Well, I'll tell you, Krista, over the last 3 seasons, there have been a trio of drivers that have dominated on the mile and a halves. It's been Rowdy, the Onion, and Grandpa Hornaday. Now, Ron Hornaday has been here to Dallas and had his guns a-blazing in Victory Lane 3 different times. Tonight, he'll be driving the Joe Danette Motorsports number 9. But when you start talking about a driver that's been great at Texas, how about Todd Bodine? Last week at Dover, he got his 22nd victory, and 6 of those races have been right here at Texas. I think if you're going to Texas two-step into Victory Lane tonight, you're going to have to beat these 2 particular trucks. Hermie?
Well, Ray, Krista talked about qualifying being canceled, and that benefited some teams. It also hurt some other teams. Look behind me, 20th starting position tonight. That will be Johnny Sauter. He was fastest in practice yesterday. He was also about 3 laps away from winning this race last year before being black flagged on a restart when it looked like he may be going to Victory Lane. So we'll watch Johnny Sauter to see if he can make his way to the front. The other truck to watch out for, starting back in 18th, is the number 18, Jason Leffler. No qualifying hurt this team as well. It'll be fun to watch these guys come from the back and try to make it to the front. Krista?
Thanks, Hermie. Yes, that qualifying canceling being definitely playing a factor. But we did get in a practice session. The Thor Sport drivers of Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton were quickest. Taking a look at our points, there you see Matt Crafton in 9th. The big mover this week, of course, Todd Bodine coming off his win last week at Dover, and Justin Lofton remains our points leader. Still to come on the setup, as if moving to a new country and racing for respect wasn't difficult enough, we will tell you what Miguel Paluto and his wife are doing for their young son. Plus, Red Horse Racing started the year with 3 drivers. 2 of them have won, but it's the other one who is charging to the front of the championship picture. More to come. The setup is brought to you by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. By Sleep In. Dream better here. Book now at sleepin.com. And by Nature Valley. 100% natural, 100% delicious. Well, Joey Coulter was one of the drivers you saw there. Joey Coulter now matches his truck number, at least in years. Joey, who starts 11th tonight, turned 22 today. There you see the team giving him a birthday cake. Joey and teammate Ty Dillon. There's Joey blowing out the candles. And speaking of those drivers, they will be carrying decals this week honoring the memory of longtime ECR Engines employee Tommy Lee Cy Earnhardt. Earnhardt passed away last Saturday following a long illness. The RCR cars in Pocono will carry the same remembrance. Well, because of busy schedules, drivers rarely have time to get a bite to eat or even grab a drink. But what happens if something as simple as a sports drink, not having it, could kill you? That's what Miguel Peludo deals with every day. He can handle it. He's 28. But what happens when you're too young to even walk or talk? Recently, Miguel and his wife Patricia opened up their home to our cameras to share their family story.
We are very blessed to have Oliver in our lives.
He put us on a different level of love.
As soon as you see Oliver, you walk in and you see how happy he is. Every time I've seen him at the track, he's always such a happy baby. But you've been hit with some news recently regarding Oliver's health.
Yeah, Oliver had diabetes, like Miguel.
I have diabetes for 8 years. Diabetes is when your pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin. So everything you eat that is carbs, that becomes sugar, doesn't go into your cells to become energy.
So the insulin sort of balances everything out.
Yes, and it is a really thin line to manage the insulin because your levels actually, because you need to be between 80 and 130. When I go to the racetrack, I watch out more carefully about my levels. Before I get in, I test my levels. If it's like 100 or something, I take a Coke or a Gatorade or something with sugar to put my levels a little bit higher. Once I'm in the car, I have water and Gatorade separate. So I can feel if my levels are high or low. Once I jump out the car, I test it again, and if I need to do a correction, I do it right away. I'm glad I had 8 years to learn about diabetes, and now I can teach my son how to manage himself, and I'll be right beside him every time he needs me.
Did he seem like something was wrong, or how did you find out, and how did you get him diagnosed?
It's really hard to diagnose. Even me being diabetic was hard to diagnose on Oliver.
The chances that because of Miguel has diabetes is less than 6%.
Yeah, the chance was less than 6%. So once you get thirsty, you lose weight, and you're not feeling well, sleepy is one of the 4 symptoms.
The worst one, it was hard to breathe.
Yeah,
he was
hard to
having
breathe.
trouble to breathe.
Yeah. So we went straight to the urgent care, and when they did blood test, I was beside the person. And when I see the levels on, high, I said, he has diabetes. Yeah.
What will it mean for his life, or what do you need to do specific to an infant to help him?
It's the same treatment I've been through. He actually don't take shots. We just got a pump for him, so he has a pump attached to his body, and we just control his sugars level, like finger test. But at the same time, Oliver doesn't speak. So if he has low blood sugar, that's the worst case scenario.
And I'm still nursing Oliver, what makes a little difficult for us to count in carbs and then give him the right amount of insulin. But we are doing fine.
Yeah,
He's
it's the way
doing
it
great.
is. I think, you have to learn about things, and the first months are the toughest ones.
Well, and the blessing, I think, too, is it's going to be all he's ever known. He's going to be have as normal of a childhood as any other child.
Yeah, and make me feel good, like he'll be not at the school, why me? No, I'm like my daddy.
But you even mentioned that he seems maybe not happier, because he was always happy, but he seems even better now that he's gotten diagnosed and you have the pump.
Once we came back home, he was on the front door, smiling, looking all over the place. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and he spent 2 days in the hospital. He was tired. He was looking like, thank you for like bringing me back, and
it was
a heartbreak. And it wasn't like small things. It was like, thanks so much, so that pays everything.
Yeah, it's all that matters.
Yeah.
How can you not fall in love with that face? Oliver was diagnosed just 8 days before we did that interview. Tonight, Miguel races with a Unite for Diabetes paint scheme, trying to raise awareness for the International Diabetes Federation. I think they just raised a lot of awareness just by doing that interview. There's Miguel and Oliver right there for driver introductions. We thank the entire Paluto family. Well, race day rocks the newly paved Pocono. Join Johnny and the gang 10 Eastern right here on Speed for race day from Pocono. Coming up next on the setup, some organizations are born out of family history here in the Truck Series. Some are born out of pure admiration for the sport. And so far this year, the experience has been a good one. Last week's winner returns to the track. He has branded. How has Bodine made Texas his own personal stockyard? We will tell you next on the setup.
I've been here before, got a couple wins here. Rick's got the same truck that we ran at Kansas
and Charlotte.
Yep. Got a 5th and a 3rd.
Yep.
So he's confident. Can't you tell? Look how confident he is.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it at all.
A busy weekend here at Texas Motor Speedway. IndyCar Series also on track this weekend. They just finished practice. IndyCar's Tony Kanaan raced in Tony Stewart's Prelude to the Dream Wednesday night. Well, the Truck Series was well represented at Eldora Speedway as well. Defending series champ Austin Dillon messes with little brother Ty. This was Ty's Prelude debut. Austin competed last year, and it showed Austin was fastest in qualifying, but that's Ty in the 41 and the 71, driven by the Truck Series' Jason Leffler getting together in the heat race. But Ty in a great battle here with promoter driver Stewart in the 14, but it was Kyle Busch, an owner here in the Truck Series, who scores his first Prelude win over Tony Stewart. That was a lot of fun. Well, what is it about a track that allows a driver to own it? Whatever it is, Todd Bodine has it here at Texas. He owns a 6-pack of Texas wins and comes in with momentum after winning last week at Dover. Momentum breeds confidence. Does that spell trouble for the rest of the field?
With 6 cowboy hats to his name, Todd Bodine is the undisputed king of the Texas Motor Speedway. But with the rain wreaking havoc on practice, the 11 team needs to figure out a game plan if they are to repeat their Dover win.
Probably change those front shocks first thing we get it out there.
I think so. I think that'll be a good idea.
Make sure it runs through the bump good.
Yep. I think that bump's going to be the only thing we need to worry about. And even then, I think with what we have for shock packages, I think it's going to be fine. Just tell me what it's doing, we'll fix it up.
I think we'll be fine. We'll be just fine.
NASCAR has canceled qualifying, opting to give drivers practice time instead.
Well, the good thing about canceling qualifying is we're not going to have to mess with the shot.
Right.
So
it'll definitely give us more time to work on our race setup and not have to worry about making that mock run at the end and to see which way the balance goes.
With the debrief over, Rick Gay heads to the garage to start prepping for practice. Having had so much success here, the Onion is relaxed. As the jet dryers make their final pass, the 11 team goes to work.
All clear. Come on back. Clear out.
How's it getting over the bump?
It seemed like it was all right. The first lap, it bottomed out pretty good.
Yeah, we got that right front sped up pretty good. Why don't we just try slowing it down a little bit? See if that doesn't help your initial turn off the wall.
It drove better, way better. It's right on the edge of free now. All right, it's definitely better in. The back of the truck is on top of the track all the way through the corner a little bit.
The pylon there, your P3.
Yeah, we're close enough.
After many changes and finishing up P3, the 11 team feels good and ready to get their 7th cowboy hat.
Bodine was 3rd quick in practice. He starts 7th. He will be tough to beat here. Meanwhile, his teammate Timothy Peters starts on the front row. With those 2 drivers in the reins, owner Tom DeLoach is serious about threatening for this year's championship.
When it's in this shop, it's not a 17 or 11 truck. Tom promotes a unity thing here at Red Horse Racing, and it really helps us. We're one team. We work that way in the shop every day.
One thing we do differently at Red Horse Racing than a lot of teams do that Tom stop works his way down is it's one team, multiple entries.
At what point in your life did you determine that you were going to be part of auto racing?
Wow, that one goes back a while. I was vice president of marketing for the United States for Mobile Corporation. I had never been to a race of any kind, even though I grew up in South Georgia. My lubricants guys tell me that we really need to go to these Indy time trials because we need to introduce you to racing. You got to do it. You got to do it. But I'm not.
If I have to.
But I'm not keen on that at all.
Okay.
You know, I got things to do. It's a weekend. You know, I'm busy.
Right.
We go out there and it's like, wow, this is neat. Maybe I need to come back for the 500.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the hook was set.
Now, we see the logo, and that was from the beginnings of mobile, the red horse there.
Yeah.
But tell me about the number look. You guys have a very unique, nobody else has a look like this.
No, that number, you ever looked at the front of a Mobil 1 bottle? Mm-hmm. It kind of has a black box with a white number in it.
Right.
And a lot of work done on recognition and ease of recognition and memory retention and all that stuff. Hey, Mobil did a great job.
So why not?
Branding it as. So why do I need to bring it all by myself when a lot of other people already tested it out?
There's no question when you see a Red Horse Racing truck on the track, you know which one it is.
First time we used that was on the number 11. I used the 2 1s in the box. I said, okay, one of those ones is you, one of them is me, okay? But we're in this together, and that's what racing's about.
When we look here, we see on the walls, we see win flags, which are always nice, and I really like them.
And they have the banners up there.
Up here, we got some cool banners, and this is really what I guess the end prize between the trophies and the flags and those kind of things. This is what it's really all about.
Oh yes. One thing you learn in the industry is that you need to celebrate success. Nothing ties an organization closer together than you may labor through the tough times. But when you have a good time, man, in our world, it's sitting on a pole, it's winning a race, you know, and there's so many races that you can come home with you, kind of your tail tucked between your legs and frustrated and angry and all the rest of the stuff, and the truck's all wadded up. Okay, you got enough of those. You better get happy when you have one of those.
When these are here, enjoy
exactly.
them, right? Go look at your trophies.
Not enough.
There are not very many team owners that can say the top row of their trophy case has 2 Daytona trophies.
That's pretty special. And what's even really neat about it to me is, you know, Todd won 2 with Jermaine.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when Timothy won, which is that one, the guy that came in second was Todd. We got half miles, okay?
Yeah.
2.5 miles, short tracks, ORP, Memphis, there's 1.5 miles missing here. Okay.
I see your method to your madness.
That's the one that, you know, that's the one you really want.
Yeah.
Todd's won several times in Texas.
Texas trophy's pretty cool, too.
Well, it is hard to bet against Bodine here. Coming up, who took him in this week's fantasy picks? But wait a second, there are a lot of others that make sense, too. Did we pick your favorite? Find out next. The Setup is brought to you by Scion, making vehicles for today's connected youth. Learn more at Scion.com. Scion, what moves you? I mentioned that the trucks are sharing the track with IndyCar this weekend, and earlier today I received the treat of a lifetime when I got to take a ride along in a 2-seater IndyCar driven by none other than Mario Andretti. It was absolutely unreal. 2 laps around Texas Motor Speedway. Thanks to the racetrack, Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah, see, I'm pumped. I am pumped up. And, of course, a huge thank you to the legend, Mario Andretti. for giving me quite a ride. Apparently I dance a lot. That was awesome, though. A big thank you. I will treasure that forever. Time to check our fantasy standings. Now, we were not able to update these last week in Dover, so these do reflect the last 2 weeks. And that also means we have not one, but 2 stickers to add to our helmet. Mikey took top honors at Kansas, so Mikey, I'm going to put you right there. Mikey's hair fits in nicely. And I win at Dover, so I'm going to put myself right next to Hermie. I said that Hermie has an ugly mug. He does not at all. My ugly mug is around right next to you. And Hermie, you get to pick first.
Well, Krista, if I'm picking first, that must mean I'm in last, but I got the right pick for tonight. Even though his accent is not as cool as mine, I'm taking Nelson Piquet Jr. Last fall here, he battled back for a 4th-place finish. I think tonight he becomes our next first-time winner. What are you thinking, Filthy?
Hermie, Johnny Sauter has had 5 of his 6 starts this year with finishes of 24th or worse. He has to turn it around sometime. He was going to win this race last year and got black flagged on the last lap. So, Michael, Johnny Sauter's going to turn it around right now.
No wonder your face hitting on that helmet, Phil. How do you not take Todd Bodine? He won last week at Dover. He's on a roll. He comes here. Oh, by the way, he's won 6 times. Come on, Phil.
Sorry.
I don't know. Michael, I think it's going to be Ty Dillon. 2 reasons. He's so consistent. He has finished in the top 10 every race this season, and he already wears the cowboy hat. I mean, he looks the part. He'd be the perfect Texas Motor Speedway winner. That's who I think is going to win. Rick?
Well, Krista, I think it's great that your beautiful mug has been now placed on the helmet next to Hermie. It classes up the joint a little bit. But I think you're going to see my mug up there again because Matt Crafton is going to win in Texas. Thor Sport has to get back to victory lane in 2012, and I think it's Matt Crafton that takes them there, and it'll happen tonight. Right?
I have to tell you, Rick, it's getting kind of lonely being the last guy to pick every week, and that's because I've been at the top of the standings pretty much all year long, and I can't believe that you guys would let me pick last and leave Ron Hornaday available. I'm picking him not because he has 51 wins, not because he's a 4-time champion, and not because he's won here 3 times. I'm picking him because this team's due for a turnaround, and tonight's the night for number 9 in victory lane. Krista?
There are just so many great drivers to pick. It really does make it difficult. But, yes, I would say Bodine, Hornaday, even Brendan Gaughan possibly might have a leg up in terms of experience at this track. But we have seen just about anything here at this racetrack. Last fall, Kevin Harvick raced a truck at Texas for the first time in 12 years and won. In this race last year, the eventual champ, Austin Dillon, scored his worst finish of the season. And another contender, Johnny Sauter, right there, was black flag, meaning anything can happen and usually does in Texas. You are in for quite a treat. Follow us, go along for the ride next on Speed.
When the Cabin World Truck Series comes to the Lone Star State, crews know that their ride needs to be not plumb, but pert near.
The racetrack is probably a big question mark.
All the crew chiefs and the team managers down there are saying, we have to be able to adjust on these trucks and guess what this thing's going to be.
When these cowboys saddle up, hats will be replaced with helmets. Steering wheels will replace lassos. And in true Texan fashion, there won't be one Bronco buster willing to take any bull.
Green flag goes in the air, we're underwater.
When the stampede is let out of the gate, it will make a pressure cooker look calm.
Go, go, go.
Like a center in a cyclone, there'll be plenty of bowed-up drivers and jog-jagging to follow.
Matt Crafton saying, what the heck? How come he didn't give me any room?
Arvin and Dillon slide across the grass.
There's contact.
He saves it. Hard contact at the start-finish line. A lot of damage at the end of this race.
It's not going to be like your mama's typical rodeo, but it will still be hotter than a $2 pistol. Get down and cool the seat of your saddle. We're winding up the Winstar World Casino 400. Woo-hoo!
The Sprint Cup Series was here 2 months ago. Now it's the Truck Series turn. Racing under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway, this is the Winstar World Casino 400 presented by Pep Boys. Well, weather has certainly been a big story here this week. We had major storms Wednesday, showers Thursday, qualifying was canceled, problems with seeping water in Turn 3, pushing Thursday's practice back too. But as you can see, it is an absolutely beautiful night to go racing here on a Friday night. Bodine and Hornaday have been the top cowboys recently. As we told you, Todd Bodine with 6 Texas wins. But Brendan Gaughan is trying to get back on the horse he had at Texas years ago. There you see Ron Hornaday, another contender here at this race. We mentioned Brendan Gaughan. We mentioned Ron Hornaday. What about the pole sitter? Don't forget about Justin Lofton. He is trying to hold on to the points lead, starting from the best spot in the house. Well, the IndyCar drivers are watching. They just finished up with their practice session. They will watch what happens on this track tonight, and we are glad you are watching too. We keep things trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies.
Racing to Read is a program that encourages students to read throughout the school year. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as cadets from the Keller ISD Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps present our nation's colors. And please remain standing and join us in a moment of silence as we honor the memory of Cotton Owens, the legendary driver, owner, mechanic, and recent selection into the 2013 NASCAR Hall of Fame class, who passed away on Thursday at the age of 88. Thank you for that moment of silence. Now, please welcome Texas Motor Speedway track chaplain, Father Jay Atwood, as he offers tonight's invocation.
Mighty God, Lord of creation, we give you thanks for a beautiful day. We give you thanks for the freedoms we enjoy in this country and the men and women who defend those freedoms every day. We give you thanks for the thrill of motorsport racing and all who make that possible. Remembering especially the operations team here in getting this track ready. And as we go to racing, we give you thanks for the drivers, the promoters, the teams, and the sponsors, and ask for your safety and protection. Allow them each to do what they do to the best of their ability, and remind us that what we do to your honor and glory. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Our national anthem, please welcome winner of the LKCM Radio Hometown Hero National Anthem Contest, Samantha Leal.
Oh, say, can you see by the darling light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
It's a race drivers always circle on their calendars. Will we see another first-time winner like possibly Nelson Piquet tonight? The boys get us ready to race next on Speed.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on Speed by Pep Boys. Pep Boys does everything for less. Call 1-800-PEP-BOYS. Brought to you in part by Ford. Go further. By ISO Heat, the most trusted brand of water remover and injector cleaner since 1941. And by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. With rain in the area yesterday, it changed everything as we're getting ready for the Winstar Casino 400. Texas Motor Speedway again with the rain in the area. The big question is, what will the track do today as far as changes? And potentially, will you be faster at the end of the race than at the beginning? Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you once again. The big question, Michael, I think, is what is going to happen with this track? They had a limited time yesterday on the track to figure it out, but they were under the lights last night.
Yeah, and they love the fact that they got to practice in the same conditions they're going to race tonight, Rick. But this track is going to change and change all night long. Think about it. We had 5 inches of rain around the area before that practice session yesterday. That was the first rubber that was on the track. Since then, the Indy cars have run. The sun's been on it. It's going to continue to get more and more grip. It's going to, as the sun goes down, the speeds are going to pick up. It's going to be confusing for these crew chiefs, Phil, as we race toward dark.
You know, and Michael, a lot of the talk in our sport this week has been about the speeds, but the speeds at Pocono for the new surface. These guys in pickup trucks here are running faster than they are at Pocono, and this is a 1.5 mile racetrack. They have 2.5 miles in Pocono to go 180 miles an hour, and these guys are going in excess of 180 miles an hour. This is a fast track here, and it's going to get faster as the race wears on.
And 2 of the fastest trucks that were in practice from last night will have to start a little bit further back in the field. That's Johnny Sauter, who was fastest in practice. He starts back in 20th. Take a look at our Camping World track description, 1.5 mile racetrack, as we also take a look at our Pep Boys race analysis.
Long race here. 167 laps, one of our longer races of the year.
A lot of money, a lot of money.
Let's find out who does best. We start the engines. Here's the command.
Gentlemen, for those most famous words in motorsports, please welcome back the guest of Winstar World Casino, Mr. Randy Roush.
Are you ready to do this? Let's go, drivers! Start your engines!
Who can figure out how to connect that 700 horsepower up to the track surface? We're about to find out. The green flag is next here on Speed. Welcome back. Trucks are rolling around the 1.5 mile Texas Motor Speedway. We're getting ready for tonight's race. This will be your starting lineup. It was set by the owners' points. Justin Loft and Tippy Peters making up row number 1 as they are the top 2 in owner points.
Draw on row number 2, Michael.
Yeah, and these guys up front got it made. They like where they're starting, but there's some really fast trucks as we slide through this starting lineup. Parker Quigman, Tom Bodine, these guys have really fast trucks after practice.
Michael, my fantasy pick, Johnny Sauter, starts back in row number 10, 20th.
And he's a guy that can win the race, and that's going to be fun to watch. Follow him up through the field.
Joey Coulter celebrating his 22nd birthday tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway. Jason White, Brandon Nupp making up row 7. We talked about some of the faster trucks starting in the back. Miguel Paludo, Cale Gale.
Guys, look, we've got Brendan Gaughan here. Let's see if we can talk to him. Hey, Brendan, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy?
I do, bud. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Well, here you're under the weather. How you feeling?
It'll be all right. This is what race is all about, man, when you can sweat it out of your body. We had a good time at Baja, but Mr. Childress gave me a great Chevrolet for tonight. I don't care how I feel. This truck's running too good to make it hurt bad.
We know you've already got a win under your belt here in the last month or so with you and your dad in an off-road truck. How about tonight here? Can you get win number 5 at Texas?
I hope so. I got to catch up with my buddy Todd. You know, our Chevrolet was fast. All 3 Childress Chevrolets were fast yesterday in practice, so I think we got a good chance, got a good starting spot. Going to try to keep it wound up high and go to the front.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Have some fun tonight.
He said he's going to keep it wound up high. Is anyone in the booth surprised?
Not whatsoever.
Not at all, but he practiced down at the bottom of the racetrack. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Michael?
Yeah, Miguel Paludo rose off in the 15th position. What a touching story about his little son, Oliver. He's driving the Unite for Diabetes Duraline Brake Chevy.
We're also going to ride along with Ron Hornaday. He's going to welcome a new sponsor to that 9 truck, Specialty Welding and Machine, and he will start from the 9th spot in his Chevy.
Okay, if confidence will win you a race, we're going to roll with Todd Bodine. He's starting in the 7th spot. Look at him in there. You can't tell it, but if you just pass by him, he is just beaming with confidence. He can't wait for this race tonight to try to get his 7th win here at Texas.
Michael, we're also going to ride along with Parker Kligerman, and we know this guy's going to get to victory lane sooner rather than later. He drives the Reese Tow Power Ram, and he will start in the 5th spot for Brad Keselowski.
Before the green flag flies, let's head back down to pit road and get some final thoughts. We start with Hermie.
Well, thank you, Rick. To win here at Texas, it takes a fast truck, good pit stops, but I think a little bit of pit strategy may come into play tonight as well. A lot of crew chiefs told me today that if they get a caution with 10, 15 laps to go, they'll be to pit road to get 4 Goodyear tires. They've seen enough of tire pickup in the past that they may need to have 4 to get it done at the end. Ray?
Hermie, the folks at Thor Sport Racing have to be scratching their head this year. They have to be saying what could possibly go wrong for the 13 team and Johnny Sauter. Take a look at the season so far. They've really only had one good run. That was at Rockingham, but everywhere else something has either broken or fallen off of this Hot Honey Chevrolet. But when you talk about Johnny Sauter, he's got 4 wins in his career. He almost got 1 here a year ago. And each of those wins have come from qualifying in the top 5. Well, tonight, Johnny's going to start 20th. He's got a long way to go, but he's got a great truck. And even though he's 17th in the points and 100 out, I think Johnny Sauter is ready to win some races.
Well, Ray, and a great point, too, in practice, he was fastest. So if we would have qualified, there's a great chance that Johnny Sauter would have qualified in the top 5.
And that's the cool thing about tonight's race, Rick. It's a long race. These guys have a lot of time to get toward the front. They can mix up some strategy. Johnny Sauter was the fastest guy yesterday. He'll be able to get through this field.
Yeah, I think we only have 4 races of this length on the. So, and this racetrack, as Brendan talked, going to get up high. You can make some passes. You can ride around here 2-3 wide.
And these crew chiefs, as we come to green here, they've got a lot of decisions to make. They know, like you said earlier, Phil, every lap that goes by, the truck's going to get faster and faster and faster. This track's going to pick up speed, so they've got to be ready with their adjustments so they can keep their guy on top of the track.
Who's the best at mile-and-a-half racetracks? Well, of course, Kyle Busch, 14 wins in just 36 starts. Ron Hornaday, 13 wins. Todd Bodine, 12 wins. And a reminder, we always point this out, Todd Bodine's never won on a short track. All of his wins have come on the big track.
I know he's going to be glad that you mentioned that.
I brought that up once again just to give him a little motivation. Even though he was able to get to victory lane a week ago at Dover because of a rain-shortened race. Who will go to victory lane tonight? The field being led by Justin Lofton and Timothy Peters coming through the quad oval. Green flag in the air. We're underway from Texas.
Nice start all the way back through the field. Nobody got in a bind there on the start. So great jump also on the outside by Justin Lofton. He grabs the lead.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because Rick and I were talking with Justin just before the race, and he was asking us what we thought about inside or outside on the initial start.
Yeah, which line should I take? And he was going with the pros and cons of both lines as they're 3 wide as they go into turn number 3.
That didn't take long.
No, and it's going to continue all night long. These guys have a lot of options here at Texas, and a race car driver, that's what you want. If someone's running low, you want to be able to go high, and you can go high and even higher here at Texas.
And I love how this racetrack has matured over the years. It's been several years since this racetrack was paved, and you can see him no problem running up 3-4 lanes from the bottom.
Side by side for that 3rd spot. Ty Dillon on the inside, just outside of him. In the 31, James Busher.
I was talking to Busher's crew down in the garage area, and I said, "You got a good truck?" They said, "Ish." It's goodish. It needs to be better. But, you know, with the track changing conditions like we spoke of, as the rubber goes down, the speeds pick up, that could play into his hands. If you got a truck that's close early, it might be right later.
You see these guys running side by side. James Busher on the outside, Ty Dillon on the inside in the battle for 3rd. All the guys in the garage here said these guys can run wide open for a number of laps, Michael.
And what I like is the separation those two have. They get really close to each other like they're starting to now. They get a truck width apart or so, it's pretty easy to run side by side. When that outside truck dives down on the inside truck, then you've got some issues.
And by the way, the fastest trucks on the racetrack now running over 180 miles an hour in race trim.
Brendan Gaughan tucking in behind those two as they have now settled it for that 3rd spot. Busher in front of the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Got a caution.
And the caution comes out early in this one, just on lap 4. Doesn't look like anybody around on the racetrack here in the 09. Got into the wall. So John West Townley having issues early from Texas Motor Speedway.
He started back in the 12th spot.
Yep, was running in that 12th spot when the caution came out. So not a good start for the 09 team, but a beautiful evening for racing. Welcome back after starting on the pole because of owner points setting the field for this race. Justin Lofton has led all 5 of the 5 laps that we have completed, now going on 6.
And that doesn't mean he doesn't get that point, though, for leading this race.
Definitely does.
But in the NASCAR world today, when there's a caution and we get ready to go again, they just let the guy run in second, pull right up beside you. And you've got the same amount of work to keep that lead. I love it. The action on the restarts is some of the best in NASCAR, and these guys will be trying to get every spot they can get.
See the damage to the right side of that 09 of John West Townley. Here's what happened.
This is JWT right up there on the outside.
We talked about you can run high if you want to, Phil, but it's about angles. If you run high, you got to make sure that you've got a little bit of room for arrow when you exit the corner. He didn't have that room there.
Yeah, you got to have a turn. You see he's already made contact with the outside wall. Hermie, what's going on with that 09?
Well, John West Townley radioed to his crew that he thought maybe something had broken coming off turn 4, but he did make contact with the outside wall. Tough break for this team coming off 3 consecutive 16th place finishes. Their crew chief, Chris Rice, is not here tonight. He's back home for his daughter's graduation. Veteran Chris Showalter is guiding this team tonight, and they've got their work cut out for him, guys.
Yeah, and when you say veteran Chris Showalter, he's been to every race. Every truck race that has been run, he's been to all of them.
Never missed one.
I want him on my side. I mean, if there's any call that needs to be made based on history and experience,
he knows
he's going to be able to make the right call.
Over 400 starts in the Camping World Truck Series, and he's been to every single one. Well, once again, out in front of the field, it's Justin Lofton. He chooses the outside line on the inside. Timothy Peters, green flag back in the air.
But what did Timothy find out from that initial start to make him better? He looks better so far, Michael.
Well, a lot of help is coming from James Busher right behind him. He was able to push Timothy Peters, give him a little bit of a run into that first turn, but Lofton's coming back strong on the outside.
Remember, both those trucks wide open through that end of the racetrack.
They're still side by side for the race lead. Timothy Peters on the bottom of the racetrack.
Remember, that truck on the bottom gets a little bit loose down there. Justin's giving Timothy plenty of room right now.
I like the way these guys are racing each other early. It's hard racing. They're side by side at 180 miles an hour, but they are respecting each other and giving them space. If Justin just pulls down on the right side of that 17 truck, it's going to cause him havoc.
10/1000th of a second. They were separated when they crossed the stripe, and they haven't decided who's going to get out in front yet. Timothy Peters on the inside, Justin Lofton on the outside. They're also 2x2 behind them for the 3rd spot.
I love how evenly matched these trucks are.
Ooh, a little loose there for the 17, Ray. What are they talking about on the radio?
Well, he has said that the truck is loose, especially coming off of the corner, Rick. But, you know, I really enjoyed the interview I did in the setup show with Tom DeLoach, and they talked about how this is really one team with this multiple entries. Well, the truck that Timothy is driving tonight was used multiple times a year ago for the 7 team. Miguel Paludo drove it a lot. They looked at it. They said, we like this truck in the wind tunnel, and now it's a 17. You'll see that happen throughout the year this year, where Timothy and Todd Bodine may be driving trucks that each other drove at different times in the year.
Timothy Peters moves up the racetrack. That allows the 31 of James Busher to take 2nd away. Now he's bird dogging the 6 of Justin Lofton.
If this is ish, I like it. I mean, if this is good ish, then this team is on it because he is fast. He's faster than Lofton right now. Drove around Peters and looks like he has a huge desire to grab that 1 point and lead this race.
Yeah, you know how much it would mean for James Busher to win here. He's from nearby Plano, Texas. And Steve Turner, his owner of Turner Motorsports, is from Texas.
So nose to tail, 1 and 2. Justin Lofton out in front of James Busher.
What about the commitment Mr. Turner's made to this NASCAR racing? I mean, that's awesome to see. And these trucks are beautiful. Walking around the garage down there, that's a brand new truck that James is driving, and it is pristine. The things, all those race vehicles, the top trucks down in this series are amazing to look at, but that one was special.
Side by side for position. On the inside, the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr., the outside, Todd Bodine in the 11.
There's something cool about getting down in a new race truck, you know? It just feels good, and the team was happy about that truck.
See that 2 of Brendan Gaughan on South Point number 2. That Chevrolet just behind these 2 trucks, and he falls in behind Nelson Piquet Jr.
Look at Todd Bodine. He had the chance, Rick, just to go right to the bottom of the track when he got to turn 1. Elected not to. Ran around the top. Gave Piquet a little bit of a run down on the bottom.
Todd Bodine, Brendan Gaughan, Michael Waltrip. Names that always run high on racetracks. It seems like when we come to mile-and-a-half racetracks, there's more of a comfort for you guys? Why is that you guys like to run the higher line?
Well, you know, you work really hard to get your truck set up as good as you can get it down on the bottom. And if it just isn't working right, that's what race car drivers love. You have the ability to move around. You have to drive that truck where it wants to go to get all the speed out of it you can get. The best truck is one that'll handle around the bottom, but if it won't, you better go find some new pavement. And when you find that pavement, a lot of times the fresh pavement where no one else is running, it's just faster.
You know, I asked Richard Petty one time, because Richard always ran the high side. I said, Richard, why do you run up high when maybe nobody else does? He said, well, if something happens, you have less distance to go to hit the wall.
Take another look at what happened here coming out of turn number 2.
Wow.
Wow, that's when you're
Brandon Miller in the 14.
Really get your breath. I mean, he was headed toward that inside wall, and he knows that's going to hurt.
And that's well in excess of 165 miles an hour exiting the corner.
See there, PK goes for the bottom of the racetrack. Peters went up, and Bodine took the middle.
Yeah, 3 different lines going through turns 3 and 4. Timothy Peters just in front of this group. Again, his teammate right behind him. Todd Bodine in the 11. Ty Dillon just in front of Timothy Peters. Lofton has about a half a second lead over James Busher. Ty Dillon running third. Timothy Peters, Todd Bodine, your top 5. Then it's PK Jr., Gahn, Hornaday, Kligerman, and Sauter in the top 10 after starting back in 20th. Tomorrow, the Rolex Sports Car Series slams into the Midwest. Mid-Ohio is a track that demands to be taken seriously. Here, no turn is safe and nothing comes easy. The Rolex Sports Car Series Mid-Ohio. That's tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern, live on Speed. Just moments ago, the 17 of Timothy Peters, who was running in the 4th spot, came down the racetrack on the backstretch, waving his arm, letting everyone know that he was going to make his way onto pit road. You see that coming down the backstretch?
Report is he thinks he had a flat tire. Ray, they looked up when he pitted. He got any news down there about that pit stop?
Yeah, I do, Michael. They did not have a flat tire, but Timothy had been talking about a bit of vibration. But the biggest problem was the water temperature had been pegged. Now watch here. You'll see a crew member come around front. They're going to pull tape off. They're going to also clean the underside of that grill. Right below the Toyota bumper is where the air goes in. So they got that thing cleared off and decided to go ahead and do right side tires just to make sure they didn't have a loose wheel. I checked the lug nuts, or excuse me, the hole spacers. Everything was fine here on the tires that came off the truck.
And you saw one of the teammates watching as they were trying to pull the tape off. It's a little bit difficult. They put kind of a tab on there so you can pull off individual pieces of tape.
Look at this battle for the lead, Rick, all the way to the top of the track.
James Busher running high. Justin Lofton still holding on to that top spot. 23 laps in the books. This is lap 24.
Well, as we talked about, Michael, they're searching around for some grip. Some lap trucks now forcing them to go to the high side, but Justin Lofton, James Busher both running around the high side a lot of this race.
About halfway through a fuel run right now. We're at lap 25. We've heard a lot of teams talking about lap 50 being that number when they'll have to come on to pit road.
Well, side by side right in front of them as they come side by side to this battle. See if Justin goes to the inside.
Wow, look at that. He's going to have to pass both those guys and hold Busher off at the same time.
Both of them go down and hug the white line as they work their way through 3 and 4. Justin Lofton now with a 2-truck length lead over James Busher.
And guys, remember, Timothy Peters came in here runner-up in points by 1 point. And right now, as they run because of that unscheduled pit stop, he's 4th, 35 points behind.
But it's a long race.
It's a long race.
That's the one thing he can hang his hat on, because he knows that he's got time that he can get back, potentially get back on the lead lap. Thanks to Aaron's.
What he would love to see right now is he'd love to see a caution flag, because right now he's not in position to get the Aaron's lucky dog, but he could do the wave around, because it was only just about 8 laps ago that he stopped, and I think he would do that to ensure himself back on the lead lap.
Phil, the last couple of laps, the fastest truck on the track has been a 13 of Johnny Sauter. We talked about him starting back in the 20th position and how he was lucky this was a long race because he could work his way to the front. He's not messing around. Neither is James Busher. He's going for the lead on the high side.
James Busher not messing around in his home state of Texas on the high side. Can he take the spot away from Lofton? He does.
He's got it. He went around the high side. James Busher gets out in front here. Gets that point.
Lap 27. It's James Busher out in front, right?
The College Complete Chevy that Justin Lofton is driving tonight is the exact same truck that he used to win with at Charlotte just a few races ago. But Lofton said when he comes up off of the corner, his truck goes way tight. They're going to make a big swing at this one. Track bar adjustment expected at the first pit stop, and air pressure too, because he's very, very tight coming off.
The one thing that might be in the back of James Busher's mind is how close he came to winning here a year ago. Led 56 laps in the fall race, but finished second because he ran out of fuel on lap 144 of the 148 laps.
Yeah, that race distance is a little bit different than this one. This one, 400 kilometers or 167 laps.
So out in front, we have a new leader. It's James Busher. Just behind him, Justin Lofton, Ty Dillon holding on to third. Todd Bodine, Nelson Piquet Jr., your top five.
And that 13 of Johnny Sauter is coming.
Worked his way up to 7th now, got around Hornaday, and this is a battle for the 4th position. Todd Bodine has his rearview mirror full of Nelson Piquet Jr. Piquet told me he had a really fast truck tonight. I feel good about him having a top 5 finish, maybe even a shot at winning this baby. This is the kind of track he kind of fell into and likes. Big, fast, sweeping. He does well in these places.
We talked about Parker Kligerman. Definitely will get to victory lane at some point. That's another guy, Nelson Piquet Jr., that I think will get to victory lane this season.
Talk about first-time winners. We've had 3 first-time winners already out of the 6 races that have been run. Todd Bodine just in front of Nelson Piquet Jr. Todd Bodine, the most recent winner here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Yeah, and don't think that these guys, all these race truck drivers, don't understand Todd Bodine's success here. They'll watch him very closely, see the lines he takes, the things he does. So Hermie, Nelson Piquet is driving behind Todd Bodine, trying to get around him right now, but he's also watching and learning.
Yeah, going to school is Nelson Piquet as he continues to try to pass Todd Bodine on the racetrack. Now Nelson Piquet, no trouble for Todd Bodine. Looks like he may have blown an engine.
It looked like Todd Bodine just passed the 99 of Brian Silas, and when he got in front of him, a huge plume of smoke, and the motor may have just expired.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. What a tough break for Todd Bodine.
Yeah, no warning, nothing, locked right up.
There you have it, right from the horse's mouth, if you will. The race driver Todd Bodine talking about what happened, and that thing just locked up right away, no sign of a problem. That's a darn shame when your motor blows up on your favorite track.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen that often in this series. These guys are limited to about 8,200 RPMs. We rarely see any engine failures, but tough break for Todd.
So 6-time winner here at Texas Motor Speedway, and you see him coming across the stripe, and right as he went across the stripe, the engine goes. The oil probably coming from out underneath that thing. You see the back end get loose.
Listen to this now, guys.
And look at Todd get sideways there, and also Nelson Piquet behind him about spun out as well. You know that front straightaway, that's as fast as you're going, and it's flat, and you're making a turn, Phil. That's a lot of things going on right there, and then you throw a little oil down. Hard to hang on to, baby.
So Todd Bodine was running very well up in the top 10, and the engine expires as he was battling with Nelson Piquet Jr. for the 4th spot, and that's where Nelson Piquet Jr. is currently running. So James Busher, Justin Lofton, Ty Dillon, Piquet Jr., and Brendan Gaughan, your top 5, and all the teams are getting up on the wall expecting their drivers to be making their way onto pit road.
This is an opportunity for Timothy Peters if he chooses to take the wave around here, because all the leaders will come down pit road.
They make their way onto pit road, led by James Busher. Let's go first to Hermie Sadler.
Well, Rick, Nelson Piquet Jr. brings his truck to pit road to the attention of Chris Carrier and crew. He really loves his truck. A little bit tight, center off. It'll be 4 tires, a minor air pressure adjustment for Nelson Piquet. Ray?
James Busher said his Koike Chevrolet is actually quite good, but Michael Shelton, his crew chief, said the 13 is coming. We're going to have to make an air pressure adjustment to get better. In the middle of the screen, you see a 4-tire stop going on for the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. The 31 is on his way. The very first pit stall is reserved for the 6 of Justin Lofton. He was on the pole. Looks like the 3 is going to beat Lofton off of pit road.
Wow, great stop for that Ty Dillon team.
Yeah, with a chassis adjustment. I saw the guys put the wedge wrench in.
James Busher drops a couple spots. Justin Lofton holds on to that 2nd spot, and disappointment for another driver. Todd Bodine in the garage already. 33 laps in the books. Sunday, immediately following the Sprint Cup race from Pocono, turn to speed for comprehensive post-race coverage on NASCAR Victory Lane. Celebrate with the winner as JR, Kenny Wallace, and Jeff Hammond break down the action from the Tricky Triangle. NASCAR Victory Lane immediately following the race right here on Speed. Who will go to Victory Lane tonight? Well, it's not going to be six-time winner Todd Bodine. His engine expired. He's out of the race. Could it be Ty Dillon getting his first win in the Camping World Truck Series? He was first off of pit road. How about Aaron's Lucky Dog recipient Max Gresham?
He needed that, Aaron's Lucky Dog. Rough weekend so far for Max. Got his truck into the wall, and now he's getting a lap back on the field, so Aaron's has got him in good shape.
And you talk about rough weekend. Well, how about a rough weekend for Todd Bodine? Let's hear from him. He's in the garage.
Well, I do have Todd Bodine. This is the epitome of what this sport's all about. Victory Lane one week and in the garage this week. Tell us what happened.
No warning at all. I think it broke a valve and then got to the piston and locked the rod and broke it and locked it right up. The Toyota Tundra was really good. I'm not gonna say I was messing with Austin, or Ty, but we could have gone up there and done some more. But yeah, right there, locked it right up. We had a good truck, and it's a shame. Toyota Care, we had him on again this week, and we had him on for 4 weeks and had him on last week for the win. We got a lot going for us on this race team. Mr. Deloche has done a great job with this team, and Rick's doing a great job. All the guys in the shop. We had a really good truck, and it's a shame. It's just part of racing. Nothing you get mad at. Mark Conquest and all the guys at the Gibbs shop, motor shop, do a great job. It just was a part failure. It's plain and simple.
That's Todd Bodine. He retires early tonight after winning last week at Dover. Rick?
Yeah, Todd Bodine comes off of the racetrack carrying those 6 wins from right here at Texas. We take a look at the comparison between Hornaday and Bodine.
Yeah, tremendous records on the mile and a half. We've got 3 former winners here at Texas in the field. Obviously, Todd was one of them, Ron Hornaday, and Brendan Gaughan the other. And between them, 13 wins for those 3 drivers.
And we see Ron Hornaday now on pit road. They're taking a look underneath that race truck.
Looks like they were looking to see if the splitter was dragging the racetrack. They had a flashlight down there because a lot of times the driver will say, this truck's really, really tight. Well, sometimes if the splitter's on the ground, it won't let the front tires work.
Well, that's because the front tires aren't all the way on the ground. If the front of the chassis or front of the body is running on the ground, then it's taking pressure off those tires. It isn't getting the grip it needs. And so that's what these teams deal with as the speeds pick up, Rick. The faster they go, the more they travel, then that splitter starts hitting. So sometimes you can miss that a little bit, but we've seen a lot of teams. Richie Waters comes to mind right off the top of my head, the crew chief for Polly Haraka in the 5 truck. He always is working on his truck, adjusting it, and by the end of the race, he usually gets it right. So that doesn't mean Ron can't be a factor before this is over.
Who will be a factor on the restart? Ty Dillon, Justin Lofton, 1 and 2. Ty Dillon on the outside. Green flag back in the air.
Ty didn't mess around, did he?
Justin hung back just a little bit, gave him about a half a truck length.
We heard one of the spotters there say, all clear, stay in line. That's what happened to Johnny Sauter a year ago. Oh, we got a little smoke out of the 6.
That could be just low tire pressure, Phil. Getting into a fender a little bit, maybe.
Maybe a little speed zone down in that corner from that blown engine from Todd, maybe.
Yeah, that's another possibility.
No, that's definitely smoke. A lot of smoke now, and it's getting worse.
When he comes through the turn, it looks like tire rub, because when that truck sets down is when we're seeing the most smoke come out.
Well, they run these trucks on low air at the start of a run, Rick, so that as they build up, the truck will still handle well. The tires gain pressure, and they want them low at the beginning, and a lot of times there's some deflection in the tire, and that will get it into one of the fenders. These sides aren't all that tough. I mean, the metal isn't that thick, so sometimes it'll just clearance itself, and as the air pressure comes up, it'll get better and better.
As you can see right now, but it didn't look like there was any telltale smoke that time, so the tire pressure is building up every single corner. And that may be better.
And the reason why those fenders are so close to the tire is because it makes the truck go faster. That's aerodynamics. These teams work as hard as they can to get these bodies as precise as they can, especially on a place, we're talking 180 some miles an hour here, so it's really important for the body to have a certain shape to it, and that shape is usually right against that left side tire.
It took about 2 laps for that smoke to go away.
So Ty Dillon out in front of Justin Lofton, James Busher. Brendan Gaughan's up to the 4th spot. Nelson Piquet Jr. holds on to 5th. Johnny Sauter, Joey Coulter, Jason Leffler, Matt Crafton, and Parker Kligerman are your top 10 now.
Cale Gale drives to the inside of Parker Kligerman. That's the 33. There's Cale on the inside.
What a great job by Jerry Baxter and his team last week. Got a lucky dog early, was behind. Comes out of there with a top 5 finish.
Yeah, best career finish for Cale Gale. Nice job.
That's perseverance by the team, too. They got down early, but they certainly didn't give up. Remember us hearing Jerry Baxter on the radio saying, you got to go, man. We need to get this lucky dog. He went all right all the way up to the top 5 when they called that race off.
Side by side, Cale Gale on the inside, Parker Kligerman on the outside. Kligerman now has the advantage as he'll duck in front of that 33. Just behind him, Jay White on the inside of the racetrack. He's racing for position.
That's Miguel Paluto, I believe, on the outside with that special paint scheme for juvenile diabetes.
Yep. Son Oliver, they just talked about just less than a week ago. Found out that he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, so racing for a cause here.
That's the red truck right there. That's Timothy Peters. Remember, he made an unscheduled pit stop. He did elect to come to pit road during that caution flag to stay in sync with the guys up front. Still 1 lap down, but in position right now for an Aaron's lucky dog.
Yeah, he was in a tough spot there. Do you pit and risk the caution flag not flying for a long time and you other guys get a lap down and you don't get that lucky dog, or do you stay out and hope it comes out soon? That's a tough call to make.
And he knows he has a good truck. He knows if he doesn't get an Aaron's lucky dog, he can get a wave around later. He knows he has a good enough truck to run up with these guys.
Speaking of,
yeah, good trucks. How about that 13 of Johnny Sauter? Johnny Sauter started 20th in this race. He's already made it up into the top 5. Another guy with a pretty solid truck, the 9 of Ron Hornaday, but not running as well as we've seen earlier. What's going on with him, Hornaday?
Well, Rick, they came to pit road for a routine pit stop, and a lug nut fell off the right rear during their pit stop, so they decided to come back in and top off with fuel. They jacked the right side of the truck up to check the clearance on the splitter, as you guys suggested. This is a brand new truck for the 9 team, just trying to get everything dialed in. They took advantage of the loss of track position, and they should be in good shape now, but he has a lot of track position to make up.
Yeah, the 08 of Ross Chastain, the watermelon truck, hanging in there pretty good.
And old Ross is getting it, isn't he? He's beginning to really make some good laps. He's fast. He's able to hang in there with these top guys. And I love seeing a young kid like Ross in his watermelon truck. You know how much I like. Is there watermelon ice cream? I love. Oh,
right in front of them. Sideways, 2 trucks, one on the 5 of Polly Haraka.
That's Rick Crawford, the 73 truck. Great to see Rick back in the series here, but some damage to that truck.
Yeah, don't want to see him sideways.
How about how we saw that develop for Ross Chastain and Ron Hornaday? That was about what they saw. All of a sudden, smoke flies, and they have to make some evasive action, and they both did a great job.
Look how flat the left side of Paulie Haraka's truck is. Paulie actually had Colin Brown here as a bit of a driver coach. Colin, with a lot of experience here, worked with Richie Waters before a little bit last year, but a lot of damage to the left side of Paulie's truck.
Running 14th and 15th. Let's take a look.
Incident had already started. You see Paulie up against the outside wall.
And look at the 2 trucks we were following there, Hornaday and Ross Chastain, all the way to the bottom and made their way around the crash.
His caution coming out on lap 46.
David Starr, calm, patient, just watched it develop, made his way through the middle of it. Great job by that driver.
This is what we were watching right there. We saw the truck sideways. There probably some contact, I would guess, maybe between Rick and Paulie Haraka.
It had that whole, the truck on the inside gets loose look to it, slides up, gets the outside truck. The outside truck is usually one that winds up in the wall.
A lot of body damage to the 5 truck. Paulie Haraka trying to get seat time here in the Camping World Truck Series. Stay with us. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway, the Winstar World Casino 400K, presented by Pep Boys. Continuing here on Speed, your motorsports authority, and an authority on green initiative, American Ethanol. We'll take a look at our American Ethanol Fast Fact. You know, Ford won 3 of the first 5 Camping World Truck Series races at Texas, but hasn't won here since June of 2000 when Greg Biffle won.
Well, that's amazing, though. We've had so many wins by Brendan Gaughan, who was running Dodges, and then Todd Bodine in Toyotas, and Ron Hornaday in Chevrolets.
Ray, what's going on with the 17?
Well, Rick, when you're at the back of the field, here's a good opportunity to make some adjustments. We saw a track bar adjustment and wedge and fuel going in to that number 17 Toyota. Peters gave up 19th on the racetrack, but that's about where he's going to start anyway. So mark it down on lap 48. He is going to have a 15-lap window of differential on the guys up front. So if we get a long green here, this could really play into their hands.
Absolutely had nothing to lose. He was Aaron's lucky dog, so he's going to restart from the very tail of the field anyway. So it's a great move by Butch Hilton to come and pit with those guys, and he caught a real break here by getting this early caution flag.
Again, they came onto pit road under green flag conditions on lap 4 because they thought they had an issue.
You know, talking about a good break and turn it, or bad break and turn it into something good. What about who won last week? Todd Bodine spun out.
Yep.
And then he winds up sitting in victory lane. So we'll have to follow this Timothy Peters story and see if that overheating / possible loose wheel he had early in the race leads to some breaks along the way. He does have a huge advantage. I know he's starting in the back, but that extra gas he's got on board could really pay off. These tires don't fall off much.
We have a long green flag run. It will definitely help out. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back here in 60 seconds. Stay with us. The field 2x2 once again. Ty Dillon has the point. James Busher will be starting on the inside of row number 1. Then it's Lofton and Sauter in row 2. How about Johnny Sauter? What a run he has made, already up into the top 4.
Yeah, remember, he started 20th, not because of how he qualified, because of owner points.
Back into the gas. Green flag back in the air. Ty Dillon. And on his inside, James Busher now rushing to the bottom of the racetrack and looks as though he'll have the advantage as they go through 1 and 2.
Wow, what a run down into 1 by Busher. Is he going to clear Ty Dillon? I think he is. Going to have the lead off, too.
Got a little bit of a push from Justin Lofton in the 6 truck. Now Busher pulls to the outside in front of Ty Dillon.
Side by side for the 3rd spot. Lofton on the inside, Sauter on the outside. Lofton with the advantage down on the bottom of the racetrack, but now the momentum of the 13 moves up, takes the 3rd spot away, so Sauter up to the top 3.
Johnny Sauter definitely on the move here. Good battle. There's Brendan Gaughan right now running in the 5th spot in that 2 South Point Chevrolet. Nelson Piquet Jr. the 30 underneath him, and here comes Matt Crafton. First time we've seen Matt running well up here inside the top 10.
Yeah, when I was talking earlier about Johnny Sauter having some of the fastest lap times on the track, his teammate Matt Crafton was right there with him, racing really fast as they got some laps on these tires.
One of the storylines to start off 2012 was ThorSport, and could they run for a championship because of a manufacturer change they did in the offseason? A lot of people had question marks because Johnny Sauter was definitely a championship contender at the end of 2012, or excuse me, at the end of 2011, and so they thought he would definitely be a contender in 2012, but because of that change, he has had bad luck after bad luck, race after race.
I don't think it had anything to do with the changes. Ray reported early in the setup show how many races he's had trouble. 5 of the 6 races with finishes of 24 the worst due to crashes and mechanical problems.
But he's got it together tonight. And we saw him almost win here a year ago. He did. He was the first one across the start-finish line at the end of the race. The flag he was looking for didn't have any white on it, though.
Yeah.
It was solid black.
It was half right.
Yeah. And Ron
right is incorrect.
We saw the 88 of Matt Crafton look to the inside of Brendan Gaughan in that 2, and now has tucked back in behind the 2. Battle for the lead. James Busher trying to hold off the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
And I think right now Johnny is so far down in points as you see him take the lead from James Busher. He's all about winning races this year. Let's put together a bunch of wins. If we get back in the point race, great. But if not, we're going to have a bunch of wins to show for it.
Well, that's pretty impressive what he's done here tonight. From 20th to the lead. And it only took him 54 laps to do it. Talked about how good it's a long race for some of the guys that are starting toward the back. Well, we saw right quick that Johnny Sauter wasn't going to need a whole lot of time to get to the front.
About a third of the way through the race, and Johnny Sauter is on point now. James Busher running second. Ty Dillon, Justin Lofton, Nelson Piquet Jr. your top 5. Brendan Gaughan, Matt Crafton, Parker Kligerman, Joey Coulter, and Jason Leffler your top 10. And hovering right outside that top 10, Cale Gale still in the 33.
Yeah, Cale doing a nice job. We watched him a little bit before that caution flag with a side-by-side battle. Hanging in there, as you mentioned, just outside the top 10.
See Jason White in that Ford trying to get those guys back to victory lane. He just drove around David Starr. Now he's got his eyes set on Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, just in front of White is Hornaday, and we saw how Hornaday's been doing some work on that race truck. They've been trying to figure out how to maybe raise the front end up just a bit. Now he's already up into the 13th spot.
Had the hood up on the most recent caution flag, more than likely raising that front end up. But you see it's still scraped in the racetrack.
So we know that's exactly what they were after, trying to get the front end of that truck off the ground. So Ron and those guys can make some progress on that. Maybe he can be a contender before it's over.
Perfect situation of what you were just talking about, Michael, earlier in this race, finding where the grip is and where you can run the fastest. We're watching James Busher all over the racetrack right now. He runs the bottom, he runs high, any way he can find speed to try to get around that 13.
Yeah, that's a funny battle. Johnny just drove around Busher, and you thought maybe Johnny would drive away, and you see him trying to break the draft. That's what Johnny's doing on the back straightaway, going down low, trying to shake the draft off of Busher, because he said, I passed him, I thought I would leave him, but James is right back on him.
The last time they went through 1 and 2, James followed in the tire tracks of Johnny Sauter and lost the front end, got a little bit of a narrow push.
Side by side for position. There's Jason White on the inside of Ron Hornaday.
See, Timothy Peters moves to the inside of David Starr. Timothy in the red number 17, David Starr in the 81, the Zachary Toyota. Ooh, got a little bit loose, Timothy did.
Wow.
Did he bump David Starr a little bit?
Oh, man, that was so close to a crash, and he was able to hold on to it. David Starr did a nice job after feeling, I don't know if he hit him or not, but he certainly felt him. Here on Hornaday, he let off there. Jason White was down on the inside of him. He let Jason go. You're running back there 13th and 14th, and you start running side by side and losing more and more ground to these leaders. That's just not smart. Hornaday, the veteran that he is, he gave that spot away to Jason, and now they can continue to try to keep up so they don't get lapped.
Looked out his windshield, saw they were losing ground to Miguel Paludo, who's running 12th. Said, hey, let me let him go. We'll try to get him later.
Another guy that's on the go, Ty Dillon. He just worked his way around Justin Lofton.
Ty Dillon running in the 3rd spot. Lofton back in 4th. Just behind them in 5th. Nelson Piquet Jr.
I think that truck's really going to be a player before this baby's over. He's just lurking right there in the top 5. Seems like he has a fast. Every time you see him, he's right on the truck in front of him. Just not real aggressive so far. I like that. Let's just let some laps go by, fill our truck out, and try to see how we can make it better for the end.
Remember, we had a pit report earlier where he said he really liked his truck. He told Chris Carey it was doing just what he wanted it to.
Left side of your screen, you see the battle for the lead. That gap has stayed about the same. Here's for 3rd and 4th, and now we see Nelson Piquet Jr. try to take 4th away from Justin Lofton.
That happened because down in turn 3 and 4, Lofton was all over the back of Ty Dillon. He was looking to the inside of Dillon. Looked like maybe he lost the nose of that truck, slid up the hill, lost all of his momentum. So he was sitting there thinking, I'm going to grab 3rd, and then all of a sudden he was in a battle to keep 4th. But
what a run through on the outside, Justin Lofton.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can see how fast he is. Maybe he'll rethink trying to get under Ty Dillon when he gets to him this time and roll around the top of him.
About 30 laps since our last time on pit road.
And the clock is ticking on some of these guys to get to pit road, but there's one cat that's not coming to pit road. We talked about it, Timothy Peters. He's going to see how this all works out. Maybe could get him a lead here before long.
Got a 15-lap cushion.
Speaking of cushion, about a half a second between Johnny Sauter, who's out in front of the field now, and James Busher running 2nd. Monday night, Larry Mack and Matt Clark are in the hub to break down the action from Pocono and watch all week long. To go behind the scenes with Kevin Harvick at a UFC fight and catch another hilarious installment of Crash Cap with Jimmy Spencer and Danielle Trotta. A must-see week of NASCAR race-up begins Monday night, 6 Eastern, only on Speed.
Look at this 13 truck. He's driving away from James Busher. We show on our ads on Speed that 13's an unlucky number. Well, right now it is for everybody else in the field.
Yeah. How hard is it to pass the 13? Well, Johnny Sauter is showing everyone just how difficult it is.
But as we mentioned earlier, and you talked just a few moments ago, remember Johnny Sauter took the checker flag here this race last year.
And the black.
And did not get the win. So I'm sure right now Johnny Sauter's not taking anything for granted.
Nope, certainly not. He knows he's got some tough competition behind him, too. Just think about some of the trucks he can't see. He's out front. Everything's good. But Nelson Piquet, really fast right now. In fact, he was faster than Sauter the last time by. Justin Lofton's going to have a fast truck before this race is over. Here comes Piquet to the bottom.
Taking the position away from Ty Dillon, so Nelson Piquet Jr. moves up into the 3rd spot now. Ty Dillon drops back to 4th. Justin Lofton in the 5th position.
As you mentioned, Nelson Piquet Jr. has been really steady, has not taken any chances whatsoever.
No.
Had plenty of room that time to make his way by Ty Dillon.
And look how fast that truck is down in the corner. He put 4 or 5 truck lengths on Ty Dillon just on the entry of turn 1 and 2.
But Ty fights back off the corner.
Lurking also is a guy we haven't said a whole lot about, but that's Brendan Gaughan. And as this night wears on, he certainly has the experience it takes to win in a long race like we have here in Texas. So I like where Brendan's sitting as well.
He's done it 4 times here and won 4 times back to back.
One other factor that might come into play, and we're seeing we're getting a lot closer now to potential green flag pit stops, his experience on pit road. If you have to come onto pit road under a green flag condition, those seconds are very vital.
Oh, and we see it all the time. Guys like PK Jr., who hasn't made a whole lot of green flag pit stops in NASCAR, he could lose 2 or 3 seconds. That's basically the half of the front straightaway that he can give away. So it's really important during practice last night. I hope some of these rookies, some of the younger drivers, charge that pit road, because you know this man, Johnny Sauter, was going to charge. When
trouble right in front of Johnny.
Right in front of the leader. Can he avoid it? Sauter into the brakes, now back into the gas. He clears both the 5 and the 24. So Paulie Haraka, Max Gresham both get sideways just in front of Johnny Sauter.
Whoa. You know Johnny had to catch his breath for just a moment there. It's absolutely right in front of him.
And just think everything that else has happened to Johnny Sauter this year. He's thinking, not again, here we go. Man, that was close.
This looked like another situation of two guys a little bit too close to each other in the turns.
Yeah, and you as the leader think, which one of these guys is going to make this deal work?
Then you have to remember, if they get together, they're going to go up. Centrifugal force is going to take them up. We saw Paulie get loose there. Had to catch it, had to chase it up the hill, got into Max.
You know who went by Johnny Sauter was James Busher.
Yeah.
James Busher went right by the 13. Take a look at the momentum the 31 has here.
And Johnny Sauter couldn't care less. Right. He's just thankful that he didn't get involved in this crash. And a great job by look at Max up there. He was sideways in the gas. He kept that truck out of the wall. Paulie makes a mistake here in a wrecked truck, and he didn't take
look how sideways Max is.
Yeah.
He is 90 degrees perpendicular to the corner.
He's hanging on to her, though.
He's got it.
Lap 74 when the caution comes out of 167 laps, and this is what your race leader had to go through.
You give a pretty good shot to Max.
Yeah, and you see how fast Paulie's truck jumped. I guarantee he didn't have any idea that was fixing to happen. He drove down in there, doesn't have the experience. His truck's already aerodynamically unsound, and it just popped right around on him. He hit Max Gresham pretty hard. But Max is on pit road, never gotten that outside wall, got some damage to the left, but his right side's okay.
Talked about the potential for green flag pit stops. Well, it doesn't have to happen. The field now being led by Johnny Sauter. On to pit road, we go back down to Hermie Sadler.
Nelson Piquet Jr. obviously a threat to win tonight. Chris Carrier talking about tire strategy. He's now decided to take 4 on this stop. A little bit free. They're going to make a little bit of an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for Piquet. Ray?
Busher's truck is aero tight. They go to the right side. Remember, on the first round of pit stops, he came in as the leader, went out third. They had a little bit of a hang-up in the left rear. This stop going fairly smoothly. They get 4 tires on. Busher will be away. And at the front of the field, going to be a pretty good race off pit road.
Jay White's going to win that race.
Jason White might have gone with 2 tires, guys.
Yeah, I think maybe even no tires.
I think there's a lot of differing strategies there. And when Johnny Sauter left his pit, Parker Kligerman literally ran him out in the infield. And I know Johnny Sauter couldn't be too happy about that. Watch this move Kligerman puts here. Excuse me, sir, I'm going to be pulling over your way. And Johnny didn't have a choice but to get back in line.
And it was a great pit stop, just barely 13 seconds for Johnny Sauter. It is going to restart about 10th.
So Jay White gambles on pit road, wins the race off of pit road. Stay with us. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Pep Boys. Pep Boys does everything for less. Call 1-800-PEP-BOYS. Brought to you in part by Auto Stop. New Auto Stop is foolproof. Gray is over. By Ram Trucks. Guts. Glory. Ram. And by AC Pro. Bring back the cold to your car's AC in 10 minutes or less with new AC Pro.
I love the truck races. There's always action. There's a lot going on. We've got strategy. The fastest truck here, Johnny Sauter's all the way in the backside of the top 10. Got us another Aaron's lucky dog. Brett Raymer. Remember that big crash he had down in Daytona?
Yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah, hard crash.
But he's back.
On the lead lap, too.
Yeah, and he's on the Aaron's Lucky Dog program.
Yeah, up in the top 20.
20 trucks on the lead lap. Now back there in that Lucky Dog position. 14 of Brandon Miller. Take a look at the pit road comparison we had from Sauter and Ty Dillon. Almost 5 seconds difference. And Johnny Sauter not pleased. leaving pit road in the position that he was in, and probably a little of the aggravation had to come from Kligerman, as we talked about. He ran him into the grass.
That cost him a couple of seconds there. We always see Jay White's team figure out a way to get him up to the front and get him a chance, play some strategy. And we talked about it that at the beginning of the show tonight. You're going to have a chance to do some things different than the leaders do and get yourself up toward the front. And my pick that I made when I made fun of Phil is out of place.
Yeah.
Didn't work out so well.
I'm still looking good now. I picked Johnny Sauter. I know he's got to turn it around sometime. He's got ninth. He's a little bit upset that he's going to restart ninth, but I'm telling you, he has a fast enough truck, Hermie, to get back to the front.
Yeah, I talked to the crew here with Johnny Sauter in the pits and asked them about their pit stop, why they lost some time on pit road. Simply waiting on fuel. They were waiting to get the fuel all the way packed in, and so he lost a lot of time waiting on fuel, Rick.
We're hearing that the 23 Jay White did take 2 tires. Take another look at Johnny Sauter leaving pit road.
Look, he almost came to us, probably half the pit road speed right there he lost, and so that cost him a second or 2 as well.
And Johnny's thinking if my pit stop's faster, I'm going to be in front of Parker Kligerman anyway.
Can Ford get back to victory lane at Texas Motor Speedway? Well, right now carrying the banner, the 23 of Jason White back in the gas, green flag back in the air.
What a great start by Jay White. Jump so Ty Dillon, he's going to be able to get to the bottom of the racetrack and lead them into turn 1. Great job, Jason.
Sometimes that clean air really agrees with some of these trucks.
James Busher on the outside, racing for the 3rd position now.
They get jammed up behind Nelson Piquet Jr.
Wow.
2 back behind him, Joey Coulter in the 22.
Is that a gaggle?
That is definitely a gaggle. Got to be very careful now. Johnny Sauter back, restarts in the 9th spot now.
Well, he was leading the race and he about got crashed, so anything can happen. It doesn't matter where you are. But he is mad. We know that. We heard his radio transmission, and he just didn't quite understand how that all went so bad. Coming in the pit leading and go out 9th is hard for a driver to process his way through that.
Out in front, Jay White still holding off Ty Dillon. Now the move on the outside by James Busher. Busher taking 2nd away from Dillon.
Big disappointment last week for Jason White at Dover. Thought he had a truck he could win with up there. Top 5 finish a couple of years ago at Dover, and the thing broke on him. So it's nice to see him out front. Little redemption here in Texas.
Side-by-side battle for 5th just a moment ago. Joey Coulter, birthday boy, Joey Coulter, and Parker Kligerman.
So sparks coming out of the 31 there. James Busher on the high side of the racetrack. Temperature still coming up after they were on pit road.
Jason better enjoy this lead while he can, because that 31 truck is coming.
Jay White hugging the bottom of the racetrack. James Busher trying to find the fastest line around here.
I don't think he's coming. I think he's there.
He's on him.
He might
look
be
at
going.
the inside, as a matter of fact, for the lead. Jason White holding on to it. James Busher right on that back bumper. Now moves up the racetrack. Sparks still flying out from underneath the 31 as he looks to the high side to take the lead away going down the backstretch.
Yeah, we've seen that high side work for some passes. We saw Piquet Jr. do some passing on the outside. Now James Busher goes for the lead on the outside.
James Busher's got it. Jason White back to 2nd. Ty Dillon running a little higher line now in 3rd. Just behind him, Nelson Piquet Jr. and Joey Coulter.
You know, all these pit crews up and down pit road, we talk about strategy a lot and how that'll probably play into who's able to win this race. Phil, Jason White only got 2 tires, but he certainly hung in there really well. Crew chiefs will make a note of that and say, okay, if it comes down to it, 2 tires could win us this race.
Closing in on the halfway point of this race. Again, 167 laps scheduled. We've completed 82 on lap 83.
Johnny Sauter followed Parker Kligerman through the last corner. Parker ran low. Now Parker moved up the racetrack, opened the bottom for Johnny. Here he goes for 6th.
To the quad oval, Johnny Sauter on the inside. Going into turn number 1, trying to take the position away from Parker Kligerman. Up the racetrack he goes, moves Parker Kligerman up another lane.
They moved him up way more than he wanted to. Now Matt Crafton moves to the inside, makes it 3 wide.
Takes advantage of those 2 trucks moving up the racetrack. Now Crafton on the bottom of 3 wide. Johnny Sauter in the middle, Parker Kligerman on the outside.
Clear him back outside.
If that line works for Parker Kligerman, he may have found something up there way up the racetrack.
All right, Johnny Sauter's in the same position last time. It didn't work. What are we going to do? Let's try it again.
Try it again. Johnny right on the inside. Parker's giving him plenty of room this time.
What about Sauter? He almost crashes 1 lap and finishes the passing next. It's 3 wide in the middle of all that as well.
And right in front of those 2 ThorSport trucks, the 98 of their teammate Dakota Armstrong in that position. Dakota Armstrong a lap down. He's actually 2 laps down, running 22nd, but position on the racetrack just in front of his teammates.
Yeah, just came off pit road. That's why he's up there running with his pack.
Crafton on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get by Parker Kligerman.
It's a battle for the 7th spot. Crafton just about has him cleared. Now Parker fights back on the outside.
Momentum on the high side, working for Kligerman. It's out of the gas just a bit.
Yeah, I love that. He is pretty much wide open even this late into the run, and even that high up on the racetrack, barely out of the gas in the middle of the turn.
Ray Crafton able to make the pass on Kligerman. How are they doing?
Doing well, Rick. He started 10th tonight, and he has said that his goof-off Chevrolet is very, very neutral. His biggest problem tonight is all the restarts they've been on the inside line, and he said the outside is where the guys are able to carry their momentum, and he likes the track up high. Here we see Brendan Gaughan having a good battle with the 6 also. So great racing throughout the field here. The reason the 6 is right there, they took a little extra time on their pit stop to pull that right rear fender out.
Yeah, you saw that earlier, a little bit of smoke on that fender, so made sure they didn't have that problem again. As the trucks go faster and faster, these teams have to be thinking about that. The faster it goes on that low air, the more it's going to smoke. Could eventually cut one of them.
Brendan Gaughan, the man on the move now, as he's working around the slower lap traffic of Dakota Armstrong, but he's got a mirror full of Parker Kligerman all over his back bumper.
Yeah, Brendan did not want Parker to get back to the inside. He had just made his way around Parker. Said, I don't want to have to do that over again. Puts Brendan up in the 8th spot.
Again, Brendan a little under the weather after his trip through the desert and off-road racing with his father.
Check out Jason White battling with Ty Dillon. We talked about those 2 tires hadn't affected Jason adversely. He was running back in the back part of the top 10, and now he's took those 2 tires, got the track position, has been able to hang on to it.
Pulling out of the 2nd spot, but here comes Ty Dillon looking to the inside, trying to take 2nd away from Jason White.
It looked like Jason was along for the ride that time, exiting turn number 4.
That's a fair observation, Phil, and I guarantee you that's what it felt like to Jason too. But I bet you his foot never came off the floorboard. You just got to steer it and keep going, because momentum is everything here at Texas. He lost some anyway because of being sideways, but he's able to pretty much hang on to her.
Nelson Piquet Jr. running a little higher line. Ty Dillon has run the highest line we've seen tonight. He's been getting closer and closer to that wall in 3 and 4 and has been able to move up into the 2nd spot. So it's James Busher back out in front. Can he be our first repeat winner of 2012? We've had 6 different winners in 6 races. Unfortunate for the 11 of Todd Bodine, though. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. Winstar World Casino 400K presented by Pep Boys, just going under caution for the 5th time.
Saw a little debris, it looked like on the backstretch.
And NASCAR also has seen that debris, and so the caution comes out. They will send someone out to pick it up.
There's a big old chunk of debris, Phil.
Yeah, right against the outside wall, and these trucks run pretty close to the wall, so NASCAR felt like they needed to go ahead and get that off the racetrack.
Looks like tape, but there could be some aluminum or something in that tape.
Maybe a brake duct hooked to it.
You know, I wonder who all's up there in Pocono. I know Kyle Busch is tuned in wondering what's going on here. You got Brett Kozlowski, who wants to see what's going on with his truck, and Pops, Richard
RC.
Yeah, he's here.
What about, I don't know, maybe the wife of one of the owners?
Ah,
How about
they're all
Samantha
watching.
Busch? Take a look at this. She just tweeted, watching the truck race while experimenting with homemade face masks and lip scrubs.
Oatmeal, bananas, frozen grapes, and yogurt aren't just for eating.
We can't make that up.
No, and I've been thinking about doing some stuff with my face.
Like a mask?
I want to put some oatmeal on it.
It's a good thought.
We were thinking about maybe getting you a mask.
So we got the stars out in Pocono watching as they come to pit road. This is some action. We just had a star walk in the booth. Travis Pastrana joined us up here.
And he's signing a $1 bill, by the way. As the field are making it on their way onto pit road, let's go to Hermie.
Rick, Johnny Sauter's going to top off with fuel, a track bar adjustment only. Nelson Piquet Jr. will also stop for fuel. They're saving tires right now because they've only got 1 set left for the end. Ray?
Looked like we were about 5 laps short of being able to get in a good window there. 31 decided they'd get fuel only. No adjustments there. Also see the 3 coming in to get some gas, and looks like the 3 truck, the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet, may be the first off pit road.
Those guys have been on it on pit road in that Bass Pro Shop Chevy.
How about the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr.?
We've been
needing a spot.
We've been needing a little bit of track position for Nelson. You know, we've seen a conservative run out of him, not getting himself in a bind. We put that truck up near the front. I think it's got the speed to stay there.
Guys looking for their first win. Ty Dillon, Nelson Piquet Jr., their first two off of pit road. Stay with us. Welcome back under the lights from Texas Motor Speedway. American Ethanol Fast Fact. Ethanol is the cheapest, cleanest anti-knock ingredient we have for today's higher compression engines. I love racing under the lights.
I do too. I love racing, period. And I love the way these truck guys go at it. They're so fun to watch. Brandon Miller back on the lead lap. He gets the Aaron's Lucky Dog in that 14 truck.
Good to see Brandon back in the series. Been a long time since we had Brandon in the Camping World Truck Series.
Talked about Timothy Peters earlier having some trouble dropping back. He was on pit road for an extended period there. And Ray, what's going on with the 6? Did he stay out?
Yeah, he did stay out, Michael, and a little varying pit strategy here. He said his truck is so much better out in clean air, they wanted to try it. Everybody's got a set of tires down here. We'll have another pit stop, so these guys are hoping it works in their favor to get track position. It's worked out here good as he will restart at the point.
Yeah, we're inside about 19 laps that they won't be able to make on fuel, so everyone will have to come back onto pit road. Justin Lofton playing a little bit of a gambling game here. He was on pit road on lap 74. We're getting ready for lap number 100 from Texas Motor Speedway. Green flag back in the air.
Yeah, only about 25 more laps can Justin Lofton run on this fuel load, maybe 30 at the outside. How about Matt Crafton making it 3 wide?
Crafton on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to hold that line down on the bottom. Can he break his way into the top 4? He's side by side for that position now.
These guys are getting serious now, aren't they, Mikey?
Yeah, that was a rough restart for PK Jr. We talked about the fact that he's kind of been conservative with his run. He got stuck in the middle there and lost 3 or 4 spots, so that cost him. But I like this move by Lofton's team. He knows he likes his truck out front. He's got it out there, and look at him drive away.
And we just saw teammates side by side. We haven't heard Johnny Sauter talk a lot about how he thinks his truck is that good. He was saying earlier on the radio, maybe a top 5 finish. Well, they had problems on pit road again, lost a couple spots. He's made them all back up on this restart, now breaking into the top 5 again.
That truck is right tonight. He's going to be hard to beat.
How about Jason White now driving to the inside of PK Jr.?
Look at Johnny Sauter just wiggling up off turn 4. That's how hard it is to maintain control of a truck when you're on the inside of another racer, and Johnny about got sideways there off.
Johnny on the bottom of the racetrack, Ty Dillon up high, and we see Crafton back down on the bottom of the racetrack behind these two.
How about a call for Joey Coulter as he's under attack now by James Busher for the 2nd spot, but good work by his crew.
We've talked a lot about James Busher and having a strong truck. We've talked about the 13 being very strong. Well, Justin Lofton in the 6th, they think that their truck is going to be best out in clean air. They made the decision to stay out on the racetrack, and it's working so far. He's got a 1.3 second lead over James Busher.
The only thing that's the problem for Justin Lofton is he's going to have to pit in about 25 laps.
It might not be a problem.
Might not be a problem.
But he's definitely got a...
Oh, Brennan gets sideways.
Close between he and Jay White.
May had a little contact from the back from Jason White in a 23 truck. I think Jason likes that running up in the top 10 here.
Ty Dillon on the bottom. Joey Coulter, teammate on the outside. 2 RCR trucks running door to door. Now Joey Coulter has the advantage as he moves in front of Ty.
I don't know how many times, Phil, you want your teammate, just give me a little bit of a break. Give me a little bit of something. And you don't seem to get it when you need it most.
Watch right side of your screen. Brendan gone.
I think Brendan was just trying to stay off of Jason.
Trying to give him some room.
The room on the outside and cut her a little hard, and it about spun around on him. There, Ty finally gets that break he's looking for. See if he can bring Johnny Sauter along with him.
Ty able to get back in front of the 22 of Joey Coulter.
Remember, we're going to have one more all-important pit stop for these guys.
Yeah, we've talked all night about strategy and what we're going to do. No tires. We see Justin Lofton is making that work. We saw 2 tires work. So these crew chiefs are all putting that in their data bank, and they're going to make a call here that could win them the race, this next stop.
Johnny Sauter getting oh so close to that 22 of Joey Coulter as they were setting up for the turn. Coulter keeping the momentum up on the high side, able to stay in front of that 13.
When you come up off that turn 4 here at Texas, I promise you sometimes it feels like your front tires are off the ground. You get a good run through the middle and another truck right around you, it feels like it just lifts off the ground. You can't possibly make it turn. You turn more and more and more, and if there's a truck beside you, your back end will pass you.
You have to use all that racetrack exiting the corner.
Here we see Johnny Sauter working to the inside of that 22 once again. Momentum on the high side for Joey Coulter. Has been able to keep him in front of the 13, and once again it looks like maybe a tight truck for the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
He was wiggling through the center of the corner.
Way loose as he dove down into turn 3. He's been loose every time he's been on the inside of other trucks. He's really fast, and if he was out front, he would be driving away from these guys. But you can see him wiggling there even when he's by himself. I think this set of tires, the last adjustments, has made his truck a little bit looser than he wants it.
Huge gap between Justin Lofton and James Busher, currently running in the second spot. Right.
Rick, for James Busher, they've had 3 pit stops, and in all 3 of them, they have lost positions coming off pit road, but not necessarily because the crew did anything wrong. On this last time, he was the leader, came in first, went out 7th. But part of the reason is because Michael Shelton, his crew chief, held him about 2 seconds longer than everyone else to get extra fuel in that truck. That may be the difference on our next pit stop, that they'll need less fuel than everyone else. And I agree with Michael. I think a 2-tire stop is going to be the call here at the end of the race. I think James Busher may have the best truck on the racetrack.
He's been very strong. He's shown that he has a great race truck.
Say Justin Lofton, though, is consistently the fastest truck on the racetrack on the computer with that clean air.
Wow. Used up all the racetrack there off turn 2, but you're right, Phil, the fastest truck for sure.
Justin Lofton on a different pit strategy. He'll have to come to pit road about 20 laps earlier than everyone else. June 28th on Speed, untamed horsepower will be unleashed on Kentucky as the world's toughest truckers do battle in the Bluegrass State. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, June 28th at 7:30 Eastern, live on Speed.
I love that shot.
That's a great shot.
Yeah, that's fun, seeing those guys wiggle up off turn 2 and then work their way down there and think, if I'm wiggling off 2, when I go down there and make that left, I'm probably going to be wiggling some more.
And that's a hard left, too, by the way.
That next one is.
Yeah.
There's the 13 and 22. Those two have been side by side working for position for about the last 10 or 12 laps.
I guarantee if Sauter could pass him, he'd put a straightaway on him in 2 laps. Yeah. He's very fast, but he's very loose. And that's dangerous. If he could figure out maybe a way to get around up on the outside of the 22 of Joey Coulter, maybe he could pass the birthday boy. But he keeps working on the bottom, and his truck's just sideways down there.
When Joey drives in the corner and takes the outside line where Johnny wants to be, Johnny can pull up beside him, can't quite get it done, though.
Outside door.
Look at Coulter. He's pulled over there to kind of side draft Johnny. That won't make Johnny too happy.
Still there outside.
A lot of
that high line.
A lot of gap there. Maybe that's enough gap to get Johnny up off the turn, staying even with him.
Coulter again was able to move back out in front of that 13 when they crossed the stripe. But here comes the 13. He's got a better run as they enter 1 and 2.
But Coulter can drive so hard in the corner. Johnny would love to be able to just outbrake him or get in the corner harder and clear him, but he just can't do it because Coulter's able to drive in the corner so hard.
We saw him about wreck doing that once earlier, and so that taught him a lesson. You're right, Phil. He could drive in there so much deeper if that 22 truck wasn't up on the outside of him, but he can't risk the 22 hanging with him when he gets down in the corner, and he doesn't have that air to pack on the right side of that truck to keep him from spinning out.
So those two continue to fight for position. That's for the 4th spot. Coulter has it. Sauter wants it. Justin Lofton has a 3.3 second lead over James Busher. Ty Dillon running in the 3rd spot. We talked about 4th and 5th. Matt Crafton in the 6th position. Brendan Gaughan 7th. Jason White running in the 8th position. We talk about that 6 of Justin Lofton on a different pit strategy. What are they talking about now, Ray?
Well, they can go to 125, Rick, and we're getting very close to that now. His spotter is his truck owner, which is Eddie Sharp, and Eddie from the roof looking down says, looks to me like there's debris all over the front stretch.
And we normally hear that out of the race car driver saying, okay, wait a second, there's debris everywhere, I need a caution.
You know, when you're leading the race by this amount of gap that Justin has, then I think maybe he can come to pit road, make his pit stop, and be on the lead lap still, right on the edge of the lead lap. And if he can pull that off, and then he's already proven he can drive away from these guys without having to pit, without putting tires on it, he could still be in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and that's okay anyway, because when he makes his pit stop, even if he does go a lap down, he's going to be in his window. We only have 48 laps to go. We know everybody can go 50 to 55 laps, so he just takes the waiver on Michael, and he's going to be back on the lead lap. He'll lose some track position.
You guys are guessing that there's going to be another caution. What if this race goes green? He's got a perfect opportunity. He comes to pit road. He has fresh tires. He's the fastest truck on the track. And then everybody else still has to come to pit road.
Oh, yeah, everybody has to pit. If this race goes green, I think he's in the driver's seat.
He wins it if he goes green the rest of the way. But he also is in really good shape, I believe, even if it doesn't, because look how far ahead he is. I don't believe that he will get lapped even by making his pit stop. And plus, Eddie Sharp and those guys down on pit road, they could put 2 tires on that baby maybe and just get enough gas and definitely not go a lap down. I don't think he can win it, Phil, if he has to rely on the wave around or the lucky dog, because he'll lose all his track position.
Right, track position is the only thing he's going to lose.
And remember, we thought that the 17 might have an advantage because he was off of the pit sequence early in this one. But now that he's back on the same sequence as everyone else, it seems as though he's running about the same speed.
He just hasn't had the speed. Right now, Timothy's running back in the 17th spot, though. He's not had the speed since that early part of the first 3 or 4 laps before he made that unscheduled pit stop.
Yeah, this has been a struggle for this team. Uh-oh, can we finally get this done?
Struggles. Johnny Sauter can't get by the 22. The 22 keeps the momentum on the high side and holds on to that 4th spot.
I just love how these guys race, though. You know, there isn't any laying over in the 22 truck of Joey Coulter. He's like, I'm running in the 4th spot, and if you want it, you take it away from me. And these guys race like that. There's not a whole lot of give. There's not a whole lot of take in this sport, in this series. It's all about racing.
He's got him. He's got him, Mikey.
Johnny Sauter makes the pass. Now we talked about once he gets in front, can he check out on him? We're about to find out.
You watch. He'll drive away from him so fast you won't believe it. He'll drive away from him until he catches that next guy.
Then he's got to do the same thing with him.
In that same mess again. And that next guy is Ty Dillon running in the 3rd spot.
Joey Coulter's teammate, Ty Dillon, holding on to the 3rd position. James Busher just about a second in front of Ty Dillon, and then Justin Lofton has a 4-second lead right now over James Busher. But we know that Lofton is going to have to come to pit road very soon.
How about that run through the center of the corner that Johnny got that time? He's going to be able to clear Ty, I think, this one corner.
Down on the bottom of the racetrack, can he clear the 3? He does. Takes the 3rd spot away. Johnny Sauter back into the top 3.
He's just thinking, I wish that 22 was as nice as the 3. My life was a pain there for 10 or 15 laps he ran beside Joey Coulter. Couldn't make that pass, and he drives right around Ty Dillon.
He's going to run up a couple lap trucks running side by side. He's going to go to the inside of Max Gresham.
Yeah, the last time he saw Max Gresham, Max was backwards right in front of him, so he knows Max is struggling tonight with that backup truck.
And oh, by the way, that last lap, the fastest truck, the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
And I think he made a pass during the course of that lap. So when he gets some free, clean racetrack, watch it come alive now.
Johnny Sauter trying to catch up to James Busher now, who has about a 2 or 2.5 second lead over Sauter in that 2nd position. There's James Busher.
We got to be getting close for Justin Lofton to come to pit road. It's been 51 laps since he was last on pit road. He's got to be coming soon.
Sure enough, it happens now. Race leader Justin Lofton makes the hard left turn. He comes to pit road, right?
Well, there was a big dilemma here. Do you go with right side tires or do you go with 4? And his crew chief Dan Borman said, I think we're going to go with 4 and keep the balance. We had a really nice lead in this college complete Chevrolet. Great crew down here for the number 6, and I want to point out to Jackman, keep your eye on Nick Sutton. Nick should be at graduation this weekend. He just got his doctorate degree. He works in neuro studies, but instead of being at graduation, he's here at the racetrack. Be nice to get a win, wouldn't it? 4 tires for this Chevrolet right now for Lofton. And they believe if this race goes green, just as you guys talked about, it'll be great, and the yellow is going to come out. This may work out just like a road course.
Brian Silas all over the racetrack. Gets crazy on the backstretch and brings out the 7th caution.
Got all crazy on the backstretch, huh?
Yeah, he did. 6th caution coming out.
Well, it's very simple. Justin Lofton just stays out, and it will have to take the wave around. I'm assuming that he did not beat our leader, James Busher, to the end of pit road.
Brian Silas bringing the 99 down on the apron of the racetrack, back around to the garage. Take a look at what happened.
Whoa, racing real close there. Was that Norm Benning right up on the back?
Looked like Norm.
Took the air off the back of that truck, it looked like.
And Brian Silas hit the outside wall and almost drives it into the inside wall. That is Norm Benning that he's racing with. It was a battle for position, so they were racing hard, just like we saw Johnny Sauter and Joey Coulter running hard earlier. These guys with the same attitude back in 23rd and 24th position, trying to get a position there. Norm was, and didn't, I believe, hit Silas, but was right on the back of him, and it got Silas loose.
Looks like a flat right front tire for Brian.
Splitter right down there on the racetrack. You see the smoke rolling out as the tire about to come off of the wheel.
Man, been a huge break for.
Boy, if that spin would have come one lap earlier.
Huge break for Justin Lofton. He could have run one more lap on the racetrack, or that had happened a lap earlier, like you said, Phil.
Coming down to the money stop right here. Who's going to go with 2? Who's going with 4?
I believe what I just saw out of Justin Lofton driving away, I would get just 2 tires.
If you can win that race off of pit road, being out there in the clean air, been very important for the 6 team.
I think the 13's got to take 2 tires.
We'll see what happens. James Busher leading the field onto pit road. Let's go to Hermie.
Well, you guys are saying we need to take 2 tires. So far, Joe Shear has said 4 tires. We'll see if he changes his mind on pit road. The truck has been loose. They make a track bar adjustment. And yes, it will be 4 tires and 1 can of fuel for Johnny Sauter. Ray?
They just told James Busher 1 can of fuel will get us to the end here. And they are going to go with 4 tires also for his truck. You see at the bottom, the 3 team, they have been the best. Had the best stops throughout the course of the night. We'll see if it pays off for him. Busher is away. The 3 truck has got the grill clean, and he is going to beat the 31 off pit road. The 3 does it again. They take the top spot.
Ty Dillon, James Busher 1 and 2 off of pit road.
Good pit work by Joey Coulter again. Comes out in 3rd. He gains a couple spots, and Johnny Sauter loses 3.
That's why I said he's got to take 2. They've had a tough night on pit road. Just get him 2 tires. The truck's fast. Put him in the front. I don't think they could have touched Sauter.
Now Johnny Sauter will see if he can get back by guys like Ty Dillon, James Busher, Justin Lofton. And staying out on the racetrack because he just was on pit road when the caution came out. Ty Dillon and his crew winning the race off of pit road. After the 6th caution, the Aaron's lucky dog goes to Brent Raymer. So Raymer will be back on the lead lap. 20 trucks on the lead lap after Justin Lofton takes the wave around and gets back on the lead lap as well. "34 laps of racing remain in the Winstar World Casino 400K presented by Pep Boys. When the field makes its way back to the start-finish line, the caution light still on the caution or pace car. So that means they'll have to go around at least 1 more time. But out in front of this field, it's the 3 of Ty Dillon, right?
Rick, I'm a little bit curious as what Michael and Phil would do if they were the crew chief for Ty Dillon. Would you guys tell him to take the inside or the out? Because Marcus Richmond, his crew chief, just said, let's restart on the bottom. The last time we were on the high side, couldn't get it built up the way you wanted to. So on this restart, he'll be on the bottom.
My opinion would be let Ty tell me what he wants to do. He has enough experience now. He can listen to his dad. He can listen to his spotter and then make that decision himself. I personally feel like him being on the bottom. It's shorter down that front straightaway when you're on the low side. We see the low side truck really gain momentum as they go down into the first turn with the truck on the outside. The problem is, can he clear him so he doesn't have that truck hung on the right? If he gets the right start and gets a gap, I like that inside.
I like the outside because I think you can get loose down on the bottom of the racetrack because these guys are pretty close to being up to speed when they get down to turn number 1. We saw Justin Lofton as we see him take the wave around. We saw him on the initial start of the race get the advantage from the high side.
Well, this guy right here was leading the race.
Take a look at it. They're on pit road again. We're under green flag conditions. He had to come in about 20 laps before everyone else. Watch along the fence. You're going to see the yellow light come out right there.
Right now.
And you can see the leaders drove by just as he rolled off pit road. Though they thought maybe they could get out before the leaders lapped him, but they couldn't quite do it. 2 tires would have kept him on the lead lap. Then he could have come back and got 2 more. But Phil, that caution just fell about 5 seconds too late.
Yeah.
Could have saved him too if the caution flies a little bit earlier and the leaders have to slow down. Bad break for that guy. Justin Lofton leading the race. If it stays green, he's going to win.
Right.
If the other guys have to pit, he's probably going to win. And now there's no way he wins.
Yeah, well, I've heard you say that before.
But I was right.
Yeah, just too hard to pass. Too many trucks in front of him.
There's a lot of trucks in front of him. Now the field being led by the 3 of Ty Dillon and James Busher. We see Ty Dillon choosing the inside line on the restart now.
That's my pick. Feel like the outside. Let's see how this goes.
Green flag back in the air.
Remember, Ty's the one in control of this restart. He may have Busher cleared by the time they get to turn 1.
Moves up the racetrack just in front of that 31, so Ty Dillon has the position. Here comes the 31, James Busher on the outside. He'll be battling for the lead as they come out of turn 2.
These guys know that every position counts right now with only 33 laps to go.
We saw Ty Dillon make the move, make it work down into turn 1, but Busher was just too strong on the outside. Matt comes back.
Matt Crampton moves into the top 4 now as he's on the outside working for the 3rd spot.
There's Johnny Sauter hung on the bottom again. This time Brendan Gaughan on the high side. So Johnny had a truck that was really loose down there earlier. We'll see if they made it any better.
Joey Coulter on the bottom. Now he moves to the 4th spot. Matt Crafton moves up to 3rd. Side by side for the lead. James Busher on the outside. Ty Dillon on the inside. Busher with a run as they go down the backstretch.
Busher gives them a little bit of room. Now Ty moves up the racetrack.
We haven't said a word about Jason Leffler, but he's coming as well. He's joined this battle for the lead. I hope your face mask has dried, Samantha Bush, because you might have something to cheer about here in a minute. Here comes Jason Leffler.
And we saw the 31 working the high side earlier. Sparks still flying out from underneath that truck, and the 3 of Ty Dillon still battling for the lead.
You wonder why we love truck racing so much. Look at this battle for the win here late in Texas.
How about Brendan Gaughan? Let's don't count him out now. He's up to the 4th spot.
Brendan Gaughan's gotten by the 22 of Joey Coulter, moves up to 4th. Side by side for the lead still. James Busher noses in front of the 3 as they cross the stripe. Busher leads that lap. Ty Dillon scored 2nd. Here comes Dillon. Sideways. Dillon is sideways. The 31 into the wall. Matt Crafton in front of the field. Now the caution comes out.
Inside. Caution's out. Caution.
That was just an aggressive move by Ty Dillon. He did what Johnny Sauter did never do. He went on down in the corner just like the other truck wasn't there, and he got loose. But man, what a job both those guys did hanging onto those trucks when you make a mistake.
Got some smoke coming from the 31 truck, Michael.
Yeah, 31 got into the wall. The 3 and the 31 had contact. The 31 moved up the racetrack and into the wall.
Yeah, that's the contact, I believe, from the 3 truck. You see the left front fender. James Busher has to come to pit road.
But these guys both hung onto those babies. When you're going to make a mistake and you're good enough to control it and you don't finish your whole race because of that mistake.
Watch Ty now. He's going to get loose down on the bottom.
Watch him dive in the corner right here. He goes ahead of Busher, but then he gets loose.
Sideways, kisses the wall with the right rear, straightens it back out. The 31 into the wall a little bit longer, and now we're seeing the 31 working on that truck. James Busher on pit road. Ray Dunlap.
Well, that left front fender got a good bit of damage there, Rick, and obviously they did make contact on the right side as he went up to the wall too. Busher not happy at all with Ty Dillon. He said, we have raced him clean all the time. He said, I don't know why he ran me so far up the track, but Busher will get these repairs and get back out and stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, Ty was moving up the racetrack. We saw him run the middle of the racetrack both, and you see him get loose at the very entrance to the corner. It was all he could do to try to grab a hold of that truck, and unfortunately he needed some more room, and James was there.
I know this isn't going to make James feel any better, but the reason why Ty's doing that is because he wanted to win this race, and he was driving that baby right on the edge of control, and then it got out of control. Watch it wiggle before he even gets to the turn, like you said, Phil, right there.
Right there.
I mean, they were still on the entry to turn 1, and that shows you how these trucks are so sensitive to the other trucks around them.
James Busher came off of pit road after some work to that truck. The 3 also with a little damage. We'll be back for the green flag. Welcome back. Texas Motor Speedway out in front of this field. Matt Crafton, Brendan Gaughan making up row number 1. The Aaron's lucky dog
once again being handed out. This time it's Dakota Armstrong in the 98 that receives the lap back.
That's a great break for that young man. Hermie Sadler, what's happening down there on pit road?
Well, Brendan Gaughan will restart this race in second on the inside. His truck has been tight most of the night, Michael, but he likes his truck on the short run, so this sets up good for him. I also want to update, we mentioned Jason Leffler in the 18. He is finding his way to the front at the right time. He has been loose all night, and they finally got him tightened up a little bit. We'll see if these guys have got anything for the 88.
Yeah, and back there with Leffler, Parker Kligerman, Cale Gale into the top 10. This race's complexion has entirely changed. Look at that top 5. You got Crafton leading, Gaughan second, Joey Coulter, and look, Johnny Sauter back there in the 4th spot. He could still make a run on these guys. He's on the high side. Be interesting to see if he's able to get a run on them.
And I think that's where he wants to be, in the high side. We saw him struggle on the bottom of the racetrack. They're going to wave off the restart. It's going to be one more lap here. David Starr made his way up into the top 10. You wonder where Justin Lofton, he's made his way to 15th now. Did not gain a whole bunch on that last little run.
Well, we saw him marred back in the 10th and 12th spot. Couldn't go anywhere. Just didn't go to pit road with everybody else. Got the lead and drove away from
Had
him.
over a 4-second lead when he came to pit road for his green flag pit stop. And lo and behold, a caution comes out while he's on pit road.
There's a guy we have talked about lately, Timothy Peters, down on the inside. He's up to the 13th spot. It's been a struggle for him, but when you struggle, it's nice to be in the top 15.
Guys, we've already talked a little bit about the Social Garage, the all-access pass to this weekend's NASCAR excitement. You can go to speed.com now, click on the Social Garage to join in the conversation with speed personalities, drivers, industry experts, guys like girls like Samantha Bush are part of the social situation here in NASCAR. Once again, they go 2 by 2. We haven't talked a lot about Brendan Gaughan, and that's crazy. When you're at Texas, Brendan Gaughan has won the most consecutive races at one racetrack in the Camping World Truck Series. And where did it happen? Right here. 4 wins in a row in 2002 and 2003.
His last of 8 career wins was right here back in 2003.
But we hadn't talked much about Matt Crafton, and he's sitting up there leading the race with a chance to drive away from these guys. Johnny Sauter stuck down on the inside. Look at the overheating on the 18 truck of Jason Leffler. That's how tight these guys have these trucks sealed up in the front, taking advantage of that air.
Green flag back in the air. Matt Crafton, Brendan Gaughan side by side across the stripe. Crafton with the high side, maybe the momentum, but here comes Brendan Gaughan on the bottom of the racetrack.
See if Brendan can get him cleared. Not able to clear him yet. Remember how loose these trucks get down on the bottom.
Down the back stretch they go, side by side. Here comes Johnny Sauter, looking to the inside, 3 wide for the lead. Sauter now side by side with his teammate. Crafton with the advantage coming off of turn number 4. He crosses the stripe just in front of the 13. Now run by the 13 of Johnny Sauter as they go into 1 and 2.
Everything all year has been bad for Johnny Sauter. That Thor Sport team has struggled. So close off. They don't want to make a mistake here and take each other out.
And Crafton has the advantage. Takes the lead away from the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Battle for third. Brendan Gaughan, teammate Joey Coulter on the outside.
Brendan not able to clear Joey Coulter. Same situation for Johnny Sauter just a moment ago. You see Jason Leffler, the 18 truck, battling to the outside, and Cale Gale joins that battle.
Talking about biding your time and getting your truck right when it counts. Jason Leffler, Cale Gale, both those guys are perfect examples of that. Johnny Sauter's so fast. Can he clear him?
For the lead, Johnny Sauter has the inside line and has the advantage. Takes the spot away from his teammate.
You heard his spotter say, clear, clear, clear. He had that gap for just a moment. His spotter wanted him to know it.
It wasn't 50 laps ago. We heard on Johnny Sauter's radio, we might have a 5th place truck tonight. Well, he has shown that he has a winning truck tonight. Now all he has to do is stay in front of the field.
But look at Jason Leffler on the inside of Brendan Gaughan. He's talked about having a loose truck all night. Got it tightened up a little bit, and now he's making his move inside the top 5.
Brendan went way to the high side and allowed Jason Leffler to pull up to his inside. Brendan had a better corner that time, actually drove back by Jason Leffler.
Battle for the 4th spot. Brendan Gaughan has it. Jason Leffler back there in 5th. Lost a little ground now. Cale Gale has made his way up into the 6th position.
That team gets stronger and stronger. Michael, you talked about it, getting a top 5 finish at Dover last week, getting stronger and stronger.
Just outside the top 5 tonight.
That's fun to watch, isn't it? When a young kid like that, new crew chief, new combination, Jerry Baxter doing a great job. Jerry with a lot of experience, really knows this truck from one end to the other. Good to see the progress.
Justin Lofton holding on to the 13th spot. Just behind him, Jay White. And here comes Timothy Peter in the 17. Timothy Peters trying to make the pass on the inside.
Yeah, Justin Lofton's truck just loved that clean air that he had when he was out front. Drove away, but right now in this dirty air, he's not able to make a whole lot of progress.
Bottom of the racetrack, Ty Dillon looking to go to the inside of that 9 of Ron Hornaday.
Are these trucks evenly matched or what, Phil? The first 4 guys ran between a 30.64 and a 30.62.
2 100ths of a second.
4 trucks within 2 100ths of a second.
Side by side for position. Ty Dillon on the inside, Hornaday on the outside. Those two racing for the 10th spot, trying to get into the top 10.
Remember, a little bit of damage on Ty Dillon's truck by that incident just a few moments ago. There's Miguel Paluda running just outside the top 10 and 12.
We ride along with Miguel Paluda way up the racetrack.
Justin Lofton on the inside. See Parker Klickerman running the high side of the racetrack.
He was real high up there and got a good run off that corner.
Makes his way around David Starr. Ty Dillon with a little bit of damage on that truck, but yet he's able to get around the outside of Starr as well.
Look at that high line as well. So Klickerman has moved up into the 8th position.
Ty Dillon looks at tonight and sees how out of whack his truck was when he was down in turn 1 and the contact with Busher. And if he's able to leave here with a top 10 finish, he'll check this one off and say, okay, I survived. I learned a lot and I survived. I did make James Busher mad, however.
He's been in the top 10 every single race this year, as well as Justin Lofton, as well as Timothy Peters.
Yeah, Ty Dillon setting a rookie record as far as starting the season with the most top 10s in a row, taking that honor away from Ricky Hendrick.
Here comes Lofton trying to make his way by Miguel Paludo right into the tire tracks of the 9 of Hornaday. Not able to clear Paludo yet.
Paludo gets a good run up on the outside of the racetrack. He looks like he might have a run on Hornaday even.
Hornaday staying down at the bottom of the racetrack. Paludo going a groove higher. And Lofton running right in between the two.
Remember, that's first and second points. The 6 of Justin Lofton. There's our point leader, Timothy Peters, second points.
And you know what they're doing tonight, Phil? They're welcoming a whole lot of other people to this championship point battle.
To the party.
You're running back in 13th and 14th. There's a bunch of guys that are going to take advantage of tonight and get back into this championship race.
Side by side. Ty Dillon on the inside, Klickerman on the outside. Those two racing for the 8th spot.
Ty Dillon has it.
That was just a strong move. You know, we talk about making a mistake and learning from it. You can see Ty was still right down on the bottom of the racetrack, same place he was when he made the bit of a mistake that cost he and James Busher a chance to win this race. But he learned from it and he kept working it.
Out in front, Johnny Sauter has a 1.2 second lead over teammate Matt Crafton. Those two Toyotas leading this field. Then it's Joey Coulter and Brendan Gaughan in 2 Chevrolets running 3rd and 4th. Jason Leffler in a Toyota rounding out the top 5.
It's a hard battle back here. Miguel Paludo, Ron Hornaday. Justin Lofton has been able to get by Hornaday. Justin moves up to the 11th spot.
Got a great truck. Caught a bad break.
12 laps to go. Certainly has an opportunity to get back to the top 10. But I think looking back on it, his truck isn't that good in traffic. Michael, I think it was a good call by his crew chief.
Yeah, it just it was, you know, racing sometimes you just catch a bad break, the wrong break, and
within 30 seconds of being perfect,
or even 10 seconds, maybe even 5. I mean, it was that close, because if that caution flies a little bit sooner, the leader slow down, he drives off pit road with 2 fresh tires and still on the lead lap.
James Busher was able to get by Jay White. Miguel Paludo just in front of Ron Hornaday.
Hornaday's not as fast as we are used to seeing him here at Texas, struggling to hang on to the top 10, something in the top 10, back to 13th now. Look at the lead that Johnny Sauter enjoys.
We've talked about the struggles of Thor Sport Racing this season, made the switch to Toyota, the manufacturer change. How about a 1-2 finish? Would that turn things around a little bit.
Could be big, and their third truck on the lead lap, running in the 19th position with Dakota Armstrong.
You know, we talk about inviting people back into this championship battle. Matt Crafton, if the race ended now, is up to 7th in the points. Certainly not too far out of where he couldn't become a contender before this season's over. So you're right, this is a huge night for that team.
But it's not over.
It's not over at all. 10 laps of racing to go. We see Lofton making the move by Parker Kligerman. So Lofton breaks into the top 9 now.
There's a great truck. I know he would love for this race to be about another 100 kilometers longer.
He would love for a lot of things over the last 40, 50 laps to have changed. He looked like he had this baby well in hand, and it got away.
Riding along with Parker Kligerman. You see the speeds he carries through the center of the corner. This on a longer green flag run. Just 9 laps of racing to go.
It's been 30 laps since they were on pit road.
Johnny Sauter looking to get back to victory lane. Can it be another different winner in 2012?
You can see those 2 trucks. That's about the same gap that Johnny had when we checked in on him a couple of laps ago. And Coulter has actually closed in on Matt Crafton. He has the fastest truck on the track over the last few laps. So get a caution here. Coulter's got a fast truck. Be interesting to see if he can hold on.
Remember now, 5th is his best career finish, and he's done that 5 times. What a great birthday present for Joey Coulter if he could end up with a top 3 finish.
Yeah, get his best finish on his birthday. That's a good day.
Talking about Joey Coulter with a potential career best finish. Jason Leffler is looking like he's going to have a pretty good finish to this race.
It's like
hasn't had the great finishes yet this year.
No, it looks like Nelson Piquet's a little bit better than Jason right now, but Nelson's made the passes we've seen him make mostly on the high side, and that's where Jason's running. So Nelson will have to figure out if he can get to the bottom and make a move on him.
6 laps of racing to go. This is a battle for the second spot. Joey Coulter has closed the gap on Matt Crafton.
Yeah, Joey's coming. He likes that high line. Matt Crafton's been glued down to the bottom. I think
momentum's working now for Coulter.
I think Joey Coulter has enough. He needs a couple more corners maybe, Michael. If I'm Matt Crafton and my truck will run up there, I think I'm going to move up into his groove.
Just like he's doing, Phil. You're right. I can see him making progress up there. I got to try something. He's going to drive around the outside of me. I need to go up and try to take his groove away from him. Put my truck right in front of where Coulter wants to run. It won't handle as well.
Matt Crafton, the most veteran driver in the Camping World Truck Series now. Most starts of the active drivers.
Whew. Coulter just about had enough to get his nose up beside of Crafton. See, watch the right side of your screen. Great battle. Miguel Paludo, the 32. David Starr. Here, look at Timothy Peters going to try to get by them both.
Timothy Peters makes the aggressive run to the bottom of the racetrack, passes both trucks. So we see the battle for second on the left side of your screen continues between Crafton and Joey Coulter. Inside of 4 laps of racing to go. Now a good run by the 22 of Coulter. Works back to the inside. This is for second.
There's a lap truck in front of him, Max Gresham. Where's the lap truck going to go?
Coulter on the bottom of the racetrack. Crafton up a lane. Coulter is going to be stuck behind the 24 of Max Gresham, so that allows Crafton to get back by that 22.
But Gresham did a nice job of recognizing the battle that was coming up on him and stayed really low, but it still took away any chance at that point for Coulter to make the move around Crafton.
Inside of 3 laps. Johnny Sauter. Can the luck change on 2012 for him? He has a 2.5-second lead over Matt Crafton.
He's not counting anything now. He knows what happened to him last year. He just wants no caution flags.
These two battling for the second spot. A little wiggle out of the 88 of Crafton as he comes out of turn 4. 2 laps of racing to go.
See Brendan Gaughan lurking right back there in 4th.
Great run for Gaughan. Good run for PK Jr. Cool to see Jason Leffler maybe finish this baby up with a good finish after the struggles he's had in this 2012 season.
Working their way through 3 and 4. Battle for second continues as they work for that second spot. White flag goes in the air. Johnny Sauter 1 lap away from a win in 2012.
I think Matt Crafton moving up to take Joey Coulter's line is what's allowed him to probably finish this race in second.
Trying to hold off that 22 if he's got a late charge. This is when he's going to have to show it. Down the backstretch they go. Here comes Coulter. He looks to the inside. The 88 continues to block. Down to the bottom of the track. Can Coulter get by him for second? While they're side by side, Johnny Sauter will win at Texas. Battle for second goes to Crafton. Crafton gets second in front of Coulter.
By inches. What a great battle. Here's another side-by-side battle. Busher trying to get by Paluto.
Way to come back.
How about that battle for second? Comes up 3/1000ths of a separation. 3/1000ths. Is that a bumper?
The crew celebrating with Johnny Sauter. Sauter, after some difficult finishes in the 2012 season, has finally made it to victory lane. We'll hear from him next. Ram Guts and Glory from Texas Motor Speedway. It was the battle down the backstretch.
Johnny Sauter been fighting and fighting. Finally able to get by his teammate as they enter turn number 3.
And by inches he got around him. Had to slide right up in front of him, and that resulted in a party on the front straightaway with Lee Brice riding on the back singing, "I want a woman like you."
He didn't sing it that way.
Sang it a little bit better than that, but
Great song,
we're not
number
going to
1.
critique, of course. Here's a difference of opinion. We've got James Busher on the left, Ty Dillon on the right. A little contact when Busher and Dillon came onto pit road. Take a look. This is after the checkered flag had already flown, and they were getting ready to come onto pit road after the race.
Remember, they were battling for the lead. Ty got a little bit loose down on the bottom, took them both up the hill. James got into the outside wall. Both trucks with a little bit of damage.
And once they got out of the trucks, now they're obviously discussing what took place, how they saw it.
That'd be a pretty good match if they were to sort of wrestle a little bit.
If they had a difference, yes, it would. But no difference between the driver of the 13 and his crew tonight. They were able to put it all together. The fastest truck is in victory lane. Let's go there now.
Well, Johnny Sauter sitting in victory lane. He's getting ready to get a cold drink of water. Then he'll be hopping out of this number 13 truck. A hard-fought victory, as we've documented. Drove from the 20th starting position to the front, went to the back again. We started this last year here. And Johnny Sauter's climbing out. Career victory number 5. Johnny, congratulations. You guys just didn't do this thing the easy way. You went from the back to the front 3 or 4 different times, but the best truck ended up winning. Congratulations for winning here at Texas.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank John Monahan and everybody at the Peanut Roaster, Hot Honeys. Go to peanut.com and check out our peanut, or check out their peanuts. Mike Curb Records, Toyota, everybody at ThorSport, Joe Shear, Duke and Rhonda Thorson. This is unbelievable. I mean, the year that we've had, just the bad luck, you know, and to come in here in the fashion that we had, I wasn't exactly sure what was going on in that restart deal there. We were 4th, and then they said we were 3rd. And the outside groove is a preferred groove on the restarts, but you can't thank Joe Shear and all these guys enough. I mean, this is big. So a wise man once told me, do all to the honor and glory of God, and that's what we did today.
That's Johnny Sauter. He's in victory lane at Texas. Ray?
In 2009, Matt Crafton got a pair of second-place finishes at this track, and tonight it'll be a 1-2 finish for ThorSport. I know you guys freed her up a little bit on that last stop. Was it a bit too much?
Yeah, it's a bit too much. I screamed a little bit tight on the run before that, on that long run. Got just a little bit too tight. We went up just a little bit on the right rear air pressure, and that was just a little bit too much. Got in clean air, and like we fired off right there and had Johnny up behind me, and I was sideways loose. And then the middle part, I turned off on my blowers, tried to get the right front to come up, and I finally had burned the right rear off trying to catch Johnny, because about 4 laps into it, if they were telling me the lap times I was, and I think Johnny was getting a little bit bigger for a minute coming to me, and then right rear was done. But all in all, I mean, the ThorSport organization, it's awesome. I mean, Menard's goof off Toyota Tundra was awesome. And all I got to say is, finally, we proved you wrong, Duke.
Okay, Matt Crafton comes home second tonight in truck 88.
Thanks, Ray. It's the second 1-2 finish for ThorSport. Last time was back in Las Vegas in September of 2009. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Pep Boys. Pep Boys does everything for less. Call 1-800-PEP-BOYS. Brought to you in part by Toyota Care, complimentary on every new Toyota. And by Camping World and Good Sam, everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. So Johnny Sauter once again in victory lane. It is career win number 5 for him in his 93rd start. Matt Crafton having a 1-2 Thor Sport finish.
How about the best?
Place finish. That's a good championship battle for him.
Another Texas native, David Starr, 13th.
Max Gresham was in a backup truck, got spun around, and still soldiered home to a 21st place finish.
How about Tabo Dine back in 30th with that engine failure? He's going to drop all the way back to 10th, and points going to lose 4 spots.
Look at the last 5 there in the field. The trophy being hoisted above the cowboy hats. Johnny Sauter in victory lane. Welcome back. Look at the auto stop just for men. Fastest pit stop. And it didn't go to the race winner, but it did go to the driver of the number 3.
Yeah, they were consistently fast on pit road. Several times came in not in the lead and came out with the lead.
Yeah, and he was running for a chance to win this race because of this pit crew. So the fastest pit crew almost paid off for this kid tonight.
He tried to be fastest going into turn number 1. Got a little bit loose. That's what took him out of that top spot. We take a look at our unofficial, the Ford unofficial point standings. Justin Lofton still with an advantage over Timothy Peters.
Another great race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Fast speeds.
I love the trucks. There's so much action, so much excitement. There's strategy. It's all right here.
We saw it all tonight. There was disappointment and elation. For the first time in 2012, Johnny Sauter to victory lane. 7 races, 7 different winners. Tonight, it was Johnny Sauter's night.